Magic of the fair internets. It is Love Beer Radio. We're back on a Monday. It's a Monday or Sunday thing. You don't know when it's going to happen until I post shit.
We don't even know when it's going to happen.
No, we don't really know. And that's the thing. It's funny. We talk midweek about when we're going to do shows, and we just said, yeah, we're going to do the show. And then, like, we didn't even talk until today. We're like, so what time you want to do the show? We didn't even, like, bring it up doing it on Sunday, you know?
Yeah.
Which is a good thing because they got a little shitty yesterday, but we'll get into that. But yeah, I'm Matt. From Massive Beer Reviews. I do beer review shit and all that kind of fun stuff. And then we have Joe from NEP Beer Reviews. What's going on, brother?
Nothing. I'm not hungover today, which is
that's good. I mean, if anybody watched the last show, might tell that Joe is struggling.
I haven't tracked the views from our recent shows, but like
it's one of the more popular ones.
We're over 200 views. Yeah. I think me being hungover. Like, within a day, I'm like, this is at 189 fucking views. Like, what's going on here?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a weird one. But it's funny because it was like, the show is almost exactly an hour, but I think if I edited out all your belching, which is, you'd stop talking and just go like this, and you did that so many times. But it would be like, you'd stop and take like 10 to 15 seconds to do that. I think the show is really only about a half an hour long once you edited it out, all of them.
Probably.
Yeah. So yeah, that was the the show when you're hungover and we don't review a beer is the most popular fucking episode. Yeah. So there you go. It just goes to show you.
We're doing this wrong.
Yeah, we're doing something wrong. Apparently, you need to be hungover in every fucking episode we do.
Yeah, we never review a beer either. Or just me being hungover. I don't know which one it is.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, let's talk about stuff. Let's talk about interesting news and fun stuff. What do you got? You got anything good?
I saw a funny don't drink beer picture on Instagram today, so I'm going to read this out.
You found one?
Tuesday.
He posted one?
Okay. Yeah, he posted it. It was just on my Instagram feed, and I thought it was pretty funny, so I took a screenshot of it. It's a picture of Black Tuesday. And it says, this beer will Tarantino your life. You wake up disoriented and have to piece together prior events in real time.
Yeah, that's about right. That's about So what you're saying is last weekend you drank Black Tuesday.
For all I know, I fucking could have. Because
Yeah.
I don't remember the damn Siberian night.
Oh yeah, that's right. You did space on a Siberian night. That's I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited to get my Black Tuesdays. I haven't had it. I haven't had Black Tuesday in a while since the since the whole John bullshit. So
yeah, that was probably the last time that I've had it as well.
Yeah, I mean that was he always geeked out and freaked out over anything brewery. So it was like it was available.
The biggest brewery junkie.
Yeah,
I think the area.
Yeah, by far. But I'm excited to give those a whirl. So. What else? What else you got for us? Anything super awesome?
If you follow my Instagram, you'll saw that I canned all of my project beer.
Oh, talk about that! I actually didn't see it because I've been running around all afternoon. You posted it not too long ago, I assume, right?
A couple hours ago, yeah. Well, this I've mentioned it a couple of times before, but this semester we make a beer, start to finish, recipe, and do everything for it. And I actually let this sit and age for about a month now. We had, I just put it in the kegs, didn't carbonate it until today. And basically treated the kegs as like a secondary sort of deal. So I just... We have two options, packaging wise. One is a canner, and the other is a bottler. And I was kind of playing around whether I wanted to do cans or bottles. I'm like, you know what? I haven't played with the canning machine yet, so let's do that.
I don't think I've ever had a barley wine out of a can.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I've had aged beers. I've had imperial stouts, but canned beer, no, not so much, man.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of interested to give it a whirl. Now, the picture you put up, it looks like there's there's a decent amount of beer there. Like, what percentage of that is yours? Is a bunch of that go to the actual like school store?
We'll hold back some of it because we do have to do for classes. We do have to do some experiments, like making sure, like some tests and stuff, making sure like the alcohol level is where we projected it to be, what our dissolved oxygen levels are, what the carbonation level is, just that kind of stuff. But we'll also hold a certain percentage for both our beer festival, in case our 30-liter keg runs out. And if I run out of a 30-liter keg of a 9.5% barley wine, no one should be driving home.
Fair enough.
And then also the beer competition that kind of goes in with this. I think there's some kind of scholarship deal up for grabs with that, but we hold some back, and the rest of it goes out to the retail store.
Nice. Yeah, I'm super excited to give it a whirl.
I did get to walk out with some of the beers today, so that was
you would hope so.
That was a plus. Oh yeah, I mean I made it, and it's like the most expensive beer ever.
Nice. And yeah, and you're coming back this weekend, huh? You're bringing some fucking Canucks with you.
I am. I'm bringing a couple of my friends. 2 are confirmed, and 1 is a maybe. He's pretty sure he's coming, but not entirely sure yet. So we're doing some brewery action on Friday, then probably just drinking down in the bar.
Where are you going again on Friday?
We're gonna go to Endless Brewing first, and then 3 Guys and a Beard. So basically, like the on the way home kind of.
Okay,
thing.
so you're not going to go home first. You're going to hit them while you're driving home.
Yeah. Like we're gonna go from because if you stop at Great Bend, like the gas station little area at Great Bend, Endless is only like 25 to 30 minutes away from there. So I'm like, why the hell not? We'll stop there, and then 3 Guys and a Beard is a little bit farther out of the way, but still generally on my way back.
Nice.
And then Breaker on Saturday for lunch, and then the Electric City Brew Fest.
What time do they open on Saturday?
I think noon.
Noon? Nice. And Electric City Brewfest, it's up. Is it up Montage or the ski slope or something like that?
It's up at the resort. I think if you didn't go to the like Beer Geeks festival that I think Derek guy put on.
No, I think the Beer Geeks is on the outside of the baseball field, correct?
No, Beer Geeks that was yet another location for the Electric City Brewfest. Electric City Brewfest, to my knowledge, has had at this point 4 locations: the Cultural Center,
yes,
Mohegan Sun, the baseball stadium, and now the Montage Mountain.
Okay. Yeah,
if they've added any other spots in between there, I don't know about it because
they do it a couple times a year now. So I know they do they do it a couple different places. I don't go anymore. And we were talking, we were emailing today. It's basically your atypical. Just go to your mix and six section at your local grocery store, and that's typically what you find at this festival. It's probably the least inspiring festival I've ever seen in my life.
There are some newer breweries that are there. North Slope Brewing is going to be there, and Irving Cliff out of Honesdale is going to be there as well.
I've heard of Irving Cliff. We both know about North Slope, obviously.
Yes.
So, but
I'm actually curious to talk to him again if Rich is there.
Yeah, like you said, as last time he heard, it was just him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
I think I think they might have some assistants.
Yeah, but he's the head brewer now, right?
I'm not entirely sure, but he's head brewer. Well, he was head brewer before, but yeah.
Yeah, let's see. I'm going to look up the list while we're talking right now, just to kind of get an idea of what's going to be there, because I'm curious. I haven't looked in a while because they just kind of, I mean, it just irritates me, the whole thing. So
yeah, surprisingly, Breaker isn't going to be there. I don't know if that's like the fact that they have the brew pub in full swing now, and it's just like one of the things they really like don't want to do, or if they weren't really invited. Because like every other year, every other Electric City Brew Fest, they've been there, and they are consistently the longest line because they usually have the best stuff.
Yeah,
like
well,
some of the best stuff.
The list here, I mean, you have 3 guys in a beard. You know, that's your boys, but whatever. Beta, Alpine, I mean, that's Green Flash now anyway.
It is.
Avery's on this list. Now, I'm assuming it's just going to be a bunch of, you know what I mean, they're canned stuff, Ellie's, and that's the problem. It's not that there's bad breweries here. Yeah.
I actually don't know. Like, they might have, I don't know if I've actually ever seen Avery there.
Well, now there's Avery's on here, Bell's is on here. Brooklyn, you know, Dogfish Head, Duclaw. I don't think I've ever seen Duclaw at any of the festivals before.
No, I don't think I've seen them either.
Fagley's, Genesee's going to be there, man. I've heard good things about the fucking salted caramel porter. I'm telling you, people are saying that shit's pretty good, so that's kind of funny. You'll probably see that there.
Which one?
Genesee. Genesee makes a salted caramel porter that is supposed to be pretty not bad at all.
Pretty not shit.
No, like good. It's good. It's not even like mediocre. I haven't had it yet though. Goose Island, but I mean that's the problem. Like, let's see here. Like it is the Chamonix. You know, hopefully they have something good. New Belgium will just be all the. Oma Gang has always been there, I believe. Your Rusty Rail's gonna be there.
Oh, are they? Sweet. Yeah. I didn't see that. Hopefully they have the stout. That was fucking great.
Yeah, Susquehanna, Trogs, Unibrew, Victory, Weyerbacher. That's pretty much it. And it's the problem. It's not so much that they're very nice breweries on this list, but again, take it with a grain of salt. I've been there a while, so I don't. It's usually their major offerings. Yeah,
I think the thing is I think the VIP session will get better stuff. You know, I think they'll open some crazy shit for the VIP session, which we're not going to. We're just going to the general admission.
And the problem with beer festivals in Pennsylvania, and the ones run here, this is the issue with them, is that typically they're run by distributors.
Yeah.
And so the distributors, they have no interest in bringing something rare or big to the table because it has no profit margin for them. They want to push their core brands because that's where they make their money. So it's more like an advertising expo as opposed to a craft beer festival.
I think another problem with this one at least is at some point people are gonna start expecting a little bit more out of it. Is the fact that they do it almost twice a year.
I don't know, man. Northeast PA is so I want quantity over quality, and I'm just going there to do my dude bro stuff.
People do get pretty fucking shitty at that, and I think that it goes hand in hand with two things. One, it's a lot of shit that people already drink and they already like. Second is there's no tokens. There's no tokens, and I think tokens do actually, like, as much as I don't particularly like them, because I can, at a certain point, stop my drinking. Be like, I'm done now. Time to go home.
Yeah.
There are people who cannot do that. And I think tokens for those kind of people, if you want to give, like, 5 samples out with your ticket or whatever, that's fine, and then buy more. That does monitor some people, you know.
Well, I mean, we talked about this before, I believe, on Beer Geek. Yeah, not Beer Geeks, the fucking the Beer Dweebs, and I think we talked about it previously when we had Average Joe on.
Yeah,
we did
a whole festival thing.
In that we I almost want a festival to be like, cut down the breweries. Bring a little bit better stuff and then price it right around like $60 to $70 to get in, and you're gonna weed out that most of that crowd with that price point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then you're not going to have that. But here's lies in the problem is that this is thrown by distributors who have zero. They don't give a fuck about their one-offs. Basically, they distributors around here, they push founders. They push all these beers not because they like the beer. It's because they can get crazy beers and say they get it and then push it out. That's the only thing they care about when it comes to like crazy beer. Other than that, they want you to drink Flying Fish. They want you to drink Harpoon. They want you to drink Otter Creek. You know what I mean? They want you to drink those beers. Yeah, they just want you to like, okay, here you go. Here's New Belgium and Lagunitas. Knock yourself the fuck out.
And 3 different IPAs from Lagunitas.
Yeah, which is fun enough because we're going to be doing one of their beers as a review today.
I think a better brewery for that was here's 3 different IPAs from New Belgium.
Yeah, but it's just, that's kind of where it's always kind of been like meh for me. Like I went to the first year, it was okay because it was the first time doing it. It was in the cultural center. The VIP section was all right, but it was just more like okay, hey. Awesome, there's a beer festival in our area. This is something that's never happened. I'll support it.
Yeah.
But then, the other big thing, which is, I think, a typical issue with almost all beer festivals, is that they're never staffed by breweries, unless they're the really local guys. So, I don't want to go.
Brewery reps, like Trogs will typically have some brewery reps out. And I did get a second year of the cultural center. I did get a case of Nugget Nectar for free.
Yeah, that doesn't suck.
It does not suck at all. I thought I was just gonna get like a couple bottles, and the dude like just brought me to his car, like flipped open the trunk and just handed me a case of Nugget Nectar. I'm like, sweet, thank you, sir.
But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. But I mean, like I also mentioned on the when we were testing. For the guys you're bringing back, for you Canadians, are they all Canadians or? Yeah,
they are all Canadians.
Yeah, so I mean, it'll be perfect for them because that's shit we take for granted because we can get it whenever they want.
But absolutely.
They probably can't get almost any of these beers out by them, so to them it'll all be new.
Without going into, minus the super local stuff, without going into Buffalo and heading over to Premier Gourmet, there's really no way of getting a lot of the beers on that list.
Yeah,
with the exception of Unibrew.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And even then, like Ontario's kind of weird. You know, because
you have to get almost all Unibrew products you have to get from the beer store, not from the LCBO, right?
I've never seen them in the LCBO, so I would assume that they all go.
Yeah, so that means you have to buy it by the case. You can't be pulling out singles or 4-packs or 6-packs or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Let's see. What else? What else are you guys gonna do? Just coming in on Thursday or Friday?
Coming in on Friday. Basically just coming in on Friday and like drinking the entire weekend.
Yeah, that doesn't suck.
So yeah. They'll probably have another Monday show next week.
Yeah, another Monday show. You have to delve in some hangover cures.
Actually, depending on what time we get back, we might get back like early in the afternoon. Probably swing Sunday. I don't know. I'll let you know. Yeah,
I think I'm trying to rack my brain. I think there might be something going on Sunday. I don't know. Anyway, whatever. Let's see. I went on a beer trip yesterday. I went to Carton, and I went to Kane. Because the radio show I do on Sundays, typically what happens, the format of the show is a brewery sends us beer. We drink the beer, and then a brewer calls in, we talk to the brewer. And then that's the show, pretty much. And I guess before I started doing the show, they had Kane on. And something got fucked up with the phone, so they couldn't interview the owner.
Oh.
Yeah. It was so they couldn't interview him, so they're like, okay, well, we'll try again. And it's been almost a year, so they're like, okay, they set him up for this Sunday. And the owner, Michael, he's like, his name's Michael Kane, which is funny. And he was like, yeah, he's like, I'll send you up here. And the dude who runs the radio show, Derek, he's like, you know what, fuck it. He's like, don't send us beer. He's like, we'll just come down and get it, just because we want to visit anyway. So I took Saturday off, and then we all went to Kane to go to Kane to pick up the beers, but to hang out and just kind of talk. And then Carton Brewing is like, 20 minutes away from Kane, so we hit the 2 breweries and then headed back. So that was fun, dude. We went down there. That place is fucking cool, dude. We're gonna go. When you get back, we're gonna go down there because it was cool.
I want to go to both of those.
It was cool for a couple reasons. Their beers are just so fucking good. It's not even funny. It's like not even funny. It's like a joke because they're only 4 years old. You know what I mean? And it's like, really, you're 4 years old. You know what I mean? And the place is actually pretty. I would say they're the brew pub and brewery is. I think they're 10-barrel system right now. Okay. And but I mean, as far as size, not like barrel wise, but size wise, it's probably about the same as Breaker. If you were to take like their new patio and then like the second room and all that stuff, it's like about the same size, but it's basically just one. It's one small room that's relatively small, about the size of maybe my living room, not even. And then next to that is big, because they have a big warehouse spot that's the brewery, and then they just set up the brew pub in there. Inside, so you're inside when you're inside a brewery, when you're sitting in the chairs, like, you know, your tanks are right behind you, the barrels are to the left. You know what I mean? Like, all that stuff. So we went down there, and it was probably the coolest time I've ever had at a brewery. I mean, again, we're going down there to pick up beer for a show, so he went out of his way to fucking like take care of us. Like, I mean, I didn't pay for anything except for glassware. You know what I mean? Like, I wanted a glass. All the beer was free. I was like, yeah, this doesn't suck. But it wasn't that. It wasn't so much that I got that. I mean, I bought a bunch of shit home. I paid for that, obviously. Yeah. But it was just the vibe of the place is super fucking cool. It was super cool. It was very non-pretentious. You know what I mean? It was just chill. Everything was laid out crazy, but laid out in a good way. Like, it's just, I don't know. It just made sense. He had to, and I've never seen. It's the attention to detail that I guess did it for me. The way they have everything laid out, like he has like a walk-in refrigerator for his beer, for keeping his beer cold. That is about the size of my house. That's probably the bit. Like that's how far he goes to keep his beer at specific, like chilled at a specific temperature and all that kind of stuff.
Jesus.
And it was super cool, dude. And then we went there, so that was awesome. Got a bunch of beers bounced there with the carton. Carton's kind of the exact opposite. I do like their beers, not as much as Kane, but it was very, I don't know, it was like almost felt like I was in like a sequel to Zoolander almost. It was very hipstery, like very, very like there's like there's music playing and TVs with like shit on it, and it was done in just a way that was a little bit more like, I don't know, like, you know, there's a bunch of 5'1" dudes who weigh 80 pounds in skinny jeans. Do you know what I mean? And flannels and beards, and it was just like, I don't know. It was different. It was just different. It was still cool. I enjoyed going there and definitely go back. But it was just a little bit different. But their beers are good, so that doesn't suck.
I don't know if I've had anything from Carton.
I think I shared one with you. I think maybe, I don't know. I don't remember.
I don't remember. I know I remember having this stuff from Kane.
Yeah.
Last Sunday. So.
Yeah. Well, congratulations to you. And that's the thing like Kane, like they don't bottle pretty much anything. Mm-hmm. Like they bottle stuff, but they bottle stuff in, like, when I went down there, the only beers I could buy were the 2 that you had last Sunday, because that's the only 2 they have. They come out with stuff and it's gone, and they come out with stuff and it's gone. It's not like they have like a core section of beers that are kind of constantly available. And then we went to White Castle, and then we came home.
Nice.
So that was a good trip. And then the show was awesome, dude. The beers that he gave us for the show, because the last time when he was on the show, like I said, I wasn't on there yet, but I remember, like, at that time, I think he only labeled 2 beers of theirs. One is Morning Bell, which is a porter, I believe, a breakfast stout, maybe. No, I'm blanking. It's called Morning Bell. And the other one was their anniversary beer, which I have had with you previously, their other anniversary beer.
Yeah.
So we went there, and he's like, well, what do you want? And we're like, well, you know, you can give us whatever you want.
What do you got?
No, we're like, you can give us whatever you want. You just give us all growlers of stuff you have on. You know what I mean? Or you can give us bottles of stuff you have. We don't know. And he's like, okay, let me see what I have. And he went into that gigantic cooler, and he was back there for like a half an hour. We're like, okay. And he comes out with like, well, like I told him, like, I don't know if I shared it with you. They make I know I mentioned it to you. I don't know if I ever shared one with you because I think I only had it the one time. They make a Belgian strong dark. It's called Malice, and what it is a Belgian. It's more like Belgian double. But instead of using Belgian candied sugar, they used reduced apple cider as the Belgian candied sugar in it, and I fucking loved it. So, like I mentioned, I told him, I was like, "Yeah, man."
I think you were talking about that, honestly.
Yeah, I remember mentioning it to you because I remember talking about like how they did that, and I found it interesting. And we were talking about beers before when he went to go pick stuff up. We were talking about just beers in general, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm like, when does Malice come in? I love that." So when he came back, he's like, "Yeah, this is the first Malice we ever made, like 4 years ago." And then he's like, "Oh yeah, here's Night to End All Dawn's vanilla. It's like you could trade it for $500 on the internet beer." And he's like, "Yeah, here's this beer, here's that beer, here's the," and then we're like, "Oh, okay, dude." You know what I mean? So it's like all these crazy good beers. So I got a little bit tipsy yesterday because it was all 750s. It was all 750. He gave us like like 750s of like all 10% beers. You know what I mean? I was like, oh
yeah.
So that was
what other like what styles roughly does Kane do? I'm probably asking.
Honestly, they make two different. They make a lot of stuff, but they make predominantly two different things. They make hop forward IPAs and pale ales and stuff like that, and then they make Belgian beers. So like the beers that we had on the show, we had their they do they call it their Hop Lab series, which is basically just take a bunch of experimental hops and then make something with it. And then he made a Zaka hop, which is like, you know, Ryan's favorite hop right now in the world.
I was just gonna say, I think I saw Ryan posting stuff about that.
And the Zaka Pale Ale, that was fucking awesome. So they made that.
Yeah.
Then the second beer we had was they made a pale ale that was 100% Brettanomyces. Called Sea Change. They gave us that, but then he gave us the Malice, which is their Thanksgiving pumpkin beer, even though there's no pumpkin in it. And they gave us their anniversary beer, which is a Solera Method Belgian dark. And then that
I thought False Saints was you said Malice was their pumpkin. I thought False Saints was.
False Saints is their pumpkin.
Yeah.
Did I say Malice?
You did, yeah.
Okay, yeah, no, it's False Saints, and then they
that was
did
this. A good beer.
Oh yeah, fantastic. And they gave us the anniversary one that I brought last weekend, which is Solera Method Belgian dark. People don't know Solera Method. You basically take pieces of each beer from your anniversary and keep mixing it in. It's kind of what the brewery does with their anniversary beers.
Yeah.
And then he gave us the 2014 A Night to End All Dawns, which is their bourbon barrel aged imperial stout. And this one was brewed with vanilla beans or something like crazy vanilla beans. This is the beer they won GABF Best Barrel Age program like last year at GABF. Nice. So yeah, it was like it was a huge, it was a home run of a fucking show. So that was fucking delicious.
Nice. That sounds like how terrible it was.
Yeah, how terrible it must be to be able to have to drink those beers.
Yeah.
But the best part is he's a crazy, awesome dude, too. He's like, he's funny. He's weird. He's a weird dude, man. I don't know who reminds me. It reminds me of somebody. He's just a super nice guy. You know what I mean? Just chill. The thing is, he's into the, you could tell the reason why I like the brewery so much is because he makes beers that I like. So obviously he likes the beers that I like. So it was kind of like, okay, I'm like, he's telling me about how he's like making Belgian beers and how they're carbonated, like typical Belgian doubles. And people are like, oh my God, this beer's overcarbonated. And like just getting people to figure out what Belgian beers are like, because most people don't come through that door. The kind of the same discussions we've had where people don't really understand each character and stuff like that when it comes to Belgian beers. So it was just like, you know, it's the same shit. You know what I mean? Yeah. That was that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. News tidbits. Couple things. This came out a while ago. I didn't know if we talked about it. Did you see that they're gonna do hop slamming cans this year?
I did not see that.
I think strictly cans too. I don't think they're coming out in bottles at all.
Really?
Yeah.
Cans are the way to go.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly.
Makes sense. You know what I mean? So there's that. What was the other one? We talked about this one on the radio show, and I forget. What am I speaking? Oh, Brooklyn Brewery. Someone tried to open a brewery in California called Black Ops Brewery, so Brooklyn Brewery sued them or sent a cease and desist to them. So they have to change their name because Brooklyn Brewery makes Black Ops, which is understandable. I mean,
yeah,
that's a pretty big fucking beer, you know. But the biggest one, and is did you see the thing about Cantillon bitching about global warming?
No, I didn't see
So
that.
Cantillon, this came out I think it came out like Monday or Tuesday this week.
Okay.
Cantillon basically said they're unfortunately
Monday or Tuesday of last week, or like today?
This past week.
Okay,
like 4 days ago, 5 days ago.
Okay.
Cantillon basically said expect our beers to be a little bit pricier this year because of global warming, it's not getting cold enough out to where they can make their beers outside and naturally ferment them the way they want to. So they started brewing 2 weeks later this year than they did last year. And last year they started 2 weeks or 1 week later, I think it was. So basically Cantillon is saying, oh, the weather's not right because of global warming, so our prices are going up. How much of that I believe, I don't know. It might just be an excuse to raise the prices of their beer and not have people bitch and moan. I mean, but at the same time, it is Cantillon, so I'm pretty sure they could double their prices and people still. Because honestly, like, what is it? What's a Cantillon beer? It's like a 500 milliliter Cantillon beer should only cost what, $15 to $20, but people pay fucking $80, $100 for them anyway.
Fucking
you know what I mean?
For it. I paid like $16 for a 2011 Cantillon Creek at Sabatini's. This is the pizza shop a couple of years ago. And I'm like, okay, cool, whatever.
Yeah, but you could if you have that bottle right now, you can sell it online for $200.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So it's like that thing where it's like, I don't know if I kind of sort of believe them because I don't think they would go through that effort just to be like subterfuge, like be like, oh, we're having to say this so people don't bitch at us for raising our prices. Like they could get away with raising our prices, you know?
Yeah.
So.
I don't know. I mean, it could be something because that's a big thing with them. Like the way that they're like super old school and like a lot of their brewing and a lot of their techniques. So, I mean, it could be something. Could be them just trying to, like you said, just trying to raise the prices without people bitching too much. But at the same time, I think like people are still gonna pay for it if you want it. If people want it that badly, there's people that are gonna pay the $100, $200 for some of these beers online.
Yeah.
If they want it that badly, it doesn't matter what price it is. You know.
True. No, you're right. You know.
Yeah.
I think that wraps it up for the whole news shit for me. I'm not really sure what else.
I think so for me. I didn't really see. Did I take another screenshot? I thought I did. No, I didn't. All right, whatever.
So there you go. What are we talking about? Lay it out. Tell people.
Today, we are talking about different seasons. Like the kind of do the changing or different seasons, do they change or have any effect on our beer habits? You know, what kind of beers we like, or do we really like subscribe to the whole certain beers for certain seasons theory? Then we're going to be reviewing finally Lagunitas Brown Shugga.
Lagunitas Brown Shugga, which is we're guessing is 2012. Is that what we're guessing?
I would put it at about 2012. Yes.
I think Lagunitas dates their stuff on the neck somewhere. I just always have a hard time finding it, which irritates me. I mean, some of them. I mean, this is not.
Wait. That's a bottle code.
Oh, I see it up there.
Yeah, I just found like a bottle code. I didn't see a.
Yeah, I have the same thing here.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe. On here I have a bunch of stuff, but in one thing it starts 0212, maybe. I don't know if that would actually mean February 2012. But then I also have 1416 and then a bunch of other numbers, so that's probably just me just hoping for the best there. I'm sure I could probably
possibly.
I'll look it up actually while we're talking and see if I can figure out, because you know what I think it is. I don't actually think it's a date code. It might be like, or it is a date code, but an atypical date code. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let's see. So we're going to talk about that, and then what?
Talk about that, and then finish up the show with beers that we'll drink regardless of the season, and then coming into winter time, you know, some of our winter favorites, you know, either specific beers or styles in general. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So while you're looking up the date, or if there's any kind of key for the code for brown sugar, I'll start off. And I kind of do. The different seasons do actually kind of change my beer habits somewhat. If I'm sitting outside during the day with some friends, or if I'm sitting out by the pool, I typically don't want to drink something heavy. I'll want something lighter. I'll want a pale ale, you know, something hoppy or a saison, just so I can, you know, have something and I don't feel like I don't feel bad, you know. Not saying that drinking a different, like a bigger beer or something during a hot day is bad. Like, I don't feel well on that like I would if I were drinking it during a colder time, or even at night during the summer. So that was kind of the reason why I bought so much Grasshopper over the summer. You know, it was I'm taking this over, and we're to my friend's house, and we're sitting outside, and I'm just going to throw some cans at people as we're chatting. That was that kind of beer, because there was a time and a place for all of my big beer, and it's not when that time is not when it's 90 degrees outside, you know?
No, I got you. You know what I mean?
And like the one time that I actually did, and how I kind of figured this out about myself, was at I think I've mentioned this story before, but I was at a beer festival in Nashville, and I had a sample, just like a 2-ounce sample of a bourbon barrel imperial stout from Schlafly.
Yeah.
So it was a fantastic beer. It was fucking amazing. Like, literally the first thing I've ever had from Schlafly. It's 95 degrees in Nashville, Tennessee. This 10% stout is not sitting well right now. It was like I wanted to finish it. I'm like, this beer is fucking 10%. I will literally never have this again. I need to stomach this and go get some water. You know? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, see, the whole thing with like a lot of people put a lot of weight into time and a time of the year when they drink beers. And I'm not saying I don't, because I do, you know what I mean? Like, you know, I actually do enjoy some fucking like fall beers, like what would be Fall Saints from Kane, or Maple Mistress from Saucony Creek, or even a pumpkin beer like Imperial Pumpkin from fucking Weyerbacher.
If we can get it, like Good Gourd from Cigar City. I really like that one.
Yeah, it was delicious, but it's, you know, it is definitely, I have to be in a mood for it, and that mood typically is fall. But that's very few and far between. I mean, don't get me wrong, hot outside, typically I want to go with something lighter, but I always like my shit dark. I don't take it's more mood based, and a lot of times actually that's exactly what it is. It's all mood based, and people are like, okay, what does that mean? Well, it's just your mood. Well, no. If it's summer out and I'm out doing stuff and I'm running around, my mood is going to be for light beers. It has nothing to do with the weather per se, but my activity.
Yeah.
Where in the winter, it's a little bit more sedentary, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. So you go into something a little bit deeper and darker and stuff like that. So weather does play a part in it, but here's the thing. If I fucking lived in Florida, it's not like I'm going to stop fucking drinking Imperial Stouts. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, yeah, it's like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, Hunapu comes out of Florida.
We live in
Hunapu comes out of Florida, and it's popular. Do you know what I mean? So,
like we actually have a winter time.
Yeah.
Our year-round temperature is not 75 degrees.
Mm-hmm. So it's that thing where it's like it can play a part in like when I want to have a beer, but it's not as hard and fast as a lot of people make it. You know what I mean? Like there's so many people like right about now. Like typically it's colder this time of the year by now, but right now is when actually there was first time there was frost in the car this morning. So right now is when it's getting cold around here.
It was the first time you've had frost on your car. This was the second time I had frost on the car. Welcome to Canada.
You're in Canada. You're not allowed to bitch. You purposely went there, so don't act like you didn't know that was going to happen. Anyway, here's the thing.
Dropping motherfucker.
Look at Joe. Joe with his fantastic fucking iPad. Anyway, the point I was going to make is that
okay, we're back.
This time of the year, we have all these people. Like I see all these people posting on social media, going, "Oh, it's blah 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 degrees. It's now stout season. Oh, I can break out my stouts now," and be like, "Really? Like that's like
Thank you, founders."
Do you actually live in that world to where it needs to be like, okay, yeah, officially it's stout season now because the temperature is certain, blah 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 blah. So I don't buy that shit. I don't subscribe to that.
See the thing with the whole stout season, founders started that really not too long ago. That's like within a year, like at least at the most 2 years that this whole stout season thing, and it usually culminates around the time that they start releasing breakfast stout.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but I've heard people say that
to different areas. People are going to start picking it up, and that's they came up with this whole stout.
Well, how about I do this? I'm going to sit here and yammer into the camera. How about you close out your iPad thing and then reopen it and reconnect? Because I think you're just about barely holding on here. I think because I actually don't see you anymore, and every other word out of your mouth is kind of like a robot. So there you go. So yeah, I mean the whole seasonal thing with
I'm going to reset this real quick.
Yeah, do that, and I'll talk, and then I'll see you in a bit. The whole seasonal thing, it just doesn't do anything for me.
Right.
As far as advertising and all that bullshit, but I do like. I have to admit, like one of my I get really excited about this beer because it's a beer that I've been waiting to fucking do it side by side for. But when I went grocery shopping today, and I went to Wegmans. Wegmans is my local fucking grocery store. They have a decent beer selection. I went in there and they were rolling a dolly full of Hardywood's gingerbread stout out, and I was like, "Ooh, gingerbread stout's out!" And I'm starting to get excited. And I know I wouldn't get excited about gingerbread stout in the spring. I just know I wouldn't. So as much as I bitch about it or poo-poo on it or whatever the fuck you want to call about it, I do. You know what I mean? It does have some kind of effect on me. So there you go. Some people it does, some people it doesn't. Does it affect you? I don't know. You guys should fucking comment and tell us if it does, because I know a lot of people do. You know what I mean? They'll say like, "Oh, I only like this beer at a certain period or time when they're drinking beer." So yeah. Anyway, and that's the whole thing. Like I was saying about whatchamacallit, fucking fucking space on it. Like people live in different regions. People live in California. People live in fucking Florida. It's not like those people don't drink stouts and shit like that. But did you hear the part about me talking about gingerbread stout?
Maybe.
And that's like kind of like the thing with me with like the opposite of my rule of like, yes, I'll drink whatever. I wouldn't drink Hardywood gingerbread stout. I saw them rolling cases of it through Wegmans today, but it wasn't out yet. So I'm like, okay, here comes gingerbread stout. And I wouldn't be excited for that in spring. Like if I saw that in spring, I actually wouldn't. Yeah, so there are beers that speak to the season. You know what I mean? So it's not like a hard and fast, yes, I care. No, I don't. but I don't think I give it as much credence as some other people. But there are beers that are meant for specific times. Like perfect example, Guten Carlus makes their Emperor Blue. Their Guten Carlus Kaiser von Kaiser Blau, whatever the fuck you want to call it. It comes out in February every year. It's their winter fucking cuvee, fucking Grand Cru. It's supposed to be drank in winter. I would drink that on the surface of the sun. You know what I mean? Like, I love that fucking beer. So some beers transcend the season, some don't.
Yeah. I mean, I think, for example, last Wednesday, I went down to Springhouse. Not this past Wednesday, the Wednesday before. Sorry. I went down to Springhouse, and it's a cold, kind of rainy day. And I start with their Saison. I'm like, all right, this is a good beer. Not doing much for me. I switch over to their porter. Like, all right, yeah, this is kind of hitting the spot now, because it's kind of shitty out. You know, it's a little damp. I needed something like, I think I should, like, I looked at the board. I'm like, I should have fucking started with this beer, because this is way better. I liked this. I enjoyed. I feel like I got my money's worth out of that beer, more so than the Saison. Don't get me wrong. I like Saisons, but that wasn't, for me personally, the time to have it. And there's some people out there that will, exactly the way you are with the Guten Carlus, they will drink Saisons till the day they die, and they, doesn't matter when it is, they're going to have Saison. Yeah.
Oh, I found out the date of the beer, by the way. It is, let's see, it looks like November 2012.
Okay.
Because what the top line line is, it's day, and then the last one on the top line is the last digit of the year. So it's the 315th day in 2012.
Okay, where are you seeing that? Because
up on the top neck, mine says 315 space 4 space 2, and then underneath that it says 0212 1415.
On mine, I've got 299-72000. That's all the numbers that I could find.
Are you sure? Positive. You only have one line?
I have only one line.
The line below it has to do with actual like army time and how, the actual time of day it was produced. Maybe from you wiping it off from condensation, you maybe rubbed it off. Because honestly, if I just wipe my finger over it, and it's got half of the thing's gone now.
That very well could be.
Because that is like I could rub it off and like with no effort.
Yeah, all I have, like I said, is it doesn't even look like anything else was there at one point. You know how like it sometimes leaves a little bit of like residue.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing there. Anyway.
Well, we assumed it was 2012, and then I wrote on the internet, and the code matches up.
Beers, both of these beers came from the same. I bought them both at the same time.
You basically, what Joe did was Joe went ape shit buying beer in 2012 is what he's trying to tell you, and he has a whole ass ton of beer from 2012, and it's all in the same area of the shelving at his house.
Yes. 2012, the year of disposable income, is what that means.
Nice. So yeah, I mean, is there any beers that are like, trying to think if there's like a flip the script thing to where if there's a beer made for a specific season that I don't like in the season it's meant for. That's another one I was trying to think of. Is there beer produced during a specific time? You know what I mean?
Well, I think
the only one I could come up with, and I think this is a stretch, would probably be J.W. Lee's Harvest Ale. Yeah. And I'm just saying that because typically when you write Harvest Ale on the beer, you're talking you want to drink it in what? August and September. Typically you mean Harvest Ale, it's your last harvest, it's your hop harvest. You're making usually a wet hop beer or some kind of hop beer. but that's kind of a stretch because that beer is supposed to be aged anyway. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you could maybe say wheat beers, but then again, I'm not a super huge fan of them. But that's just me.
Of wheat beers?
Wheat beers, yeah.
But wheat beers aren't targeted to a specific. Wheat beers are just meant to be drank all the time, though. To me,
yeah.
You know what I mean? They're not necessarily
that's
geared towards. The United States, they market wheat beers towards summer drinkers, but that's that's manufactured. Like, it's not like that's when you drink wheat beers. It's just that's what they've marketed it as.
Yeah. But yeah, like there's nothing. Not really, like, I can't think of any for me that like I would drink outside of the season or time. Like stout. Like I said, I'll drink stouts or barrel aged beers or barley wines or like our bigger beers outside of colder months.
Yeah.
But I'll typically be inside while I do it, or it's nighttime when it's a little cooler out, but I can still, like, you'll have cool nights in July, so that's not too much of a stretch, but I think it kind of goes into that because we typically associate those beers with, around this time. This is kind of when breweries will start putting out some bigger stuff, or stouts or a porter, or, a more malty offerings, if you will.
Yeah. So there you go. I mean, I think basically what we're both trying to say is that we are influenced by the seasons, but it's not as hard and fast as a lot of people make it out to be.
Yeah.
Like, I actually do talk to a lot of...
It's more temperature. It's more outside temperature for me than the season itself. If it's a hot day in November, I'm like, it's still kind of hot out here.
Yeah, see, that it doesn't even affect me that much. Because honestly, like, I had my midsummer fucking barbecue that you never go to. And,
dude, I wasn't here for that.
I know, dude. I'm busting your chops. Dude, it's like 90 degrees and we're all dying and we're drinking like fucking 86 Hardys and fucking like we're drinking like a chocolate Yeti.
I would drink. Okay, Thomas Hardy. I would drink that whenever. There you go.
Did you crack that bottle that you brought up?
Huh?
Did you crack that bottle that you brought up there?
Not yet.
Yeah.
Soon, hopefully. I don't want to get drunk and drink it without sharing it with some friends.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So, if JW Lee's was your stretch, Thomas Hardy is mine. I think I would drink that just about any time.
Well, no, I mean the stretch was seasonal beer. That was a stretch, yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, Thomas Hardy it's a desert island beer, and it's just like weird. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, trying to think of anything else. Now, what about let's talk about this real quick before we get into the beer review.
Okay.
Let's talk about, let's say it is winter and then you drink a bunch of really big, huge bowl beers and you wake up the next day and you feel super shitty.
Okay.
What do you do for your hangover?
My Monday morning last week.
Yeah.
I will, apart from trying to sleep and drink a whole lot of water, I'll hit there's like stages of my hangover. One where I will feel, if I'm like super fucking drunk, because usually like a craft beer buzz or like a mild drunk, the next morning I'm like pretty functional, like not real, like maybe typically I don't have a headache. Maybe my stomach's a little weird, just need to get some food in me, but whatever. If I'm like super fucked up, i.e. night I cracked open the bourbon barrel aged Flying Mouflon on the show, or last week the bottle share, and I get like super ripped, I will typically go through a stages of hungover, and that's usually I feel like I'm gonna puke some more, and then I kind of come out of it and then get super hungry, where I will just try to eat anything and everything. Last week, first thing that I had, it was like in the early afternoon-ish, was a bacon cheeseburger from Wendy's. And I ate that like I've never experienced food before. It was literally gone in like 2 seconds. And I'm like, all right, cool. That was a nice appetizer. Let's get something else. It's just like, it kind of hits my stomach and is like, combats the alcohol that's still left over, and then it's just like, all right, on to something else. Like, we're metabolizing this shit real quick now. You need more. So that's typically, and then I'll start. I actually think I got a little like legit sick last week because my throat was weird for like a couple of days. Like, I puked on Sunday night, but my throat was like fucked up for a couple days afterwards, and I think I actually got sick for like a couple days.
That sucks.
Yeah.
I mean the whole like eating thing, that's it. I mean, basically what happens when you get a hangover, you're pretty much giving yourself short-term fucking diabetes is what you're doing. When you drink a lot of big huge beers, you're basically overloading your body with sugars and starches and carbohydrates. And the next day your body is trying to balance itself out, and it was just so used to being bombarded with all that. So that's why when you eat, you feel better because you're fucking balancing out a little bit. So I mean, the only time I not that I don't suffer from hangovers, I do. I was hungover today. You know what I mean? But I rarely. I don't like. I'm not like, and I don't want to say this. I'm sorry, dude. I apologize. Not like you. I don't throw up. I don't do any of that stuff.
Yeah.
I can feel like shit, but I could do whatever. I can go like today. Like we did the show yesterday, and after the show, we went to Sabatini's, and the dude that I did the show with
yesterday.
Yesterday, and then George and his buddy, and then Steve came to Sabatini's, and they started breaking all these like Three Floyds fucking beers and shit, and so I sat at Sabatini's for 2 hours and drank after that show. So I was like to the point where I was like halfway through Sabs, I called Mandy and I was like, "You need to come pick me up. I can't be driving home." And then so I woke up this morning like, okay, well, this sucks really bad. You know what I mean? I'm like, well, what am I gonna do with my life? Say that a couple times, but I had to wake up with her because she had to go go to a chiropractor. Chiropractor's 2 blocks away from Sabs. So I was like, okay, you go to your chiropractor, drop me off, I'll get my car. And I was like, you know what, fuck it. I'm like, I'll just go to the chiropractor with you because I want to make an appointment because I have insurance now. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, I'll make an appointment and see if they can get me in right then and there because I need to start going back to the chiropractor. And they're like, oh, we don't take your insurance. It's like, fuck. I'm like, okay. And I was like, you know what, screw it. I'm like, I'm going to walk to Sabs and get my car from here. And it was, fucking mile or two. I felt like shit, but I can do that. Like, it doesn't bother me. Like, I'm like, yeah. I feel like shit, but at the same time, I'm like, nah, I'm doing it. And I don't feel sick. I don't feel like I'm throw up. I'm not sweating. I'm just like, like I feel like poo. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, well.
Like,
and I'm like,
usually my like puking is like the night of. And it's just like, dude, this shit has to come out and it's got to come out now. Like, okay.
Yeah.
But like usually the day after, I'm like, I feel like I will, but I typically don't. Except for one time, but I don't talk about that.
Yeah, like I'll tell you right now. Last time I threw up was 22. Was it 2 plus 4 plus 4? It was 4 8. It was 10 years ago. I threw up. And then it was when I was 21, I threw up. Those are the last 2 times I threw up.
Nice.
Like, I just don't, I never do it. You know what I mean? And I'm not talking like drinking. Yeah. I'm talking just sick. I just threw up from sickness or drinking or anything. I just don't do it. So I've been lucky enough never to have that be part of my existence. Yeah. But I know a lot of people like that are like that. They're like, oh, I threw up last time. I'm like Chucky. Chucky comes to my fucking house. That fucking son of a bitch. And then every morning when we do, because Chucky will come over, if people don't know, if you watch my reviews, Chucky is peppered in the reviews quite a bit here and there. Because Chucky will show up and just be like, hey, let's do some reviews. I brought Firestone Walker, Parabola, PNC, and Tsukaba. Let's drink them real fast. I was like, sure, dude. And then we hang out, we drink a lot. I go to bed, I wake up next morning, he's gone, and there's like puke residue all over my fucking bathroom. It's like, that's every time I hang out with Chucky, that's what happens. So there's some people that just throw up, and then some people who don't.
Yeah. My buddy Will is the exact same way. Like, if he's doing some serious drinking, he like disappears, and we call him the master of the puke and rally, where you throw up to make more room, and then he just keeps drinking because he's fucking 6'5" or 6'7". I don't know. He's huge, and just we say he has hollow legs.
Nice.
So, yeah, like that's usually. I will also make this joke, and I will go. I want food of an unknown and slightly questionable origin, and then I drive through Taco Bell.
What was that again? I didn't hear you. My headphones cut out.
I want food of an unknown and slightly questionable origin, and then I drive through Taco Bell.
That's about right.
Yeah.
Yeah, like perfect. But if I had a choice of perfect hangover food, I'm trying to think. It's got to be a burger, man.
Yeah.
It's got to be a hamburger. Yeah, I'm trying to think because hamburger. Oh, you know what? You know what my favorite fucking hangover fucking food is, and I eat it quite a bit with a hangover because I have Sundays and Mondays off. Those are typical days that I have off. So if I'm going to drink, typically it's going to be on a Sunday. You know what I mean? Like that's usually when I'm going to drink because that way I know I can fucking, if I have a hangover, I don't have work next day, yada, yada, yada. By me and my one buddy Murph, we love fucking oysters. And fucking on Monday, the local place by me has fucking $1 a buck of shuck fucking oysters, and they're fucking like I love oysters.
Yeah,
and there's places that have like dollar oysters, but this place is like top notch oysters. This is like when you go for oysters to a place. Have you ever eaten oysters?
Yes.
When you typically go to a place for oysters, they say, "Hey, do you want some oysters?" And you go, "Yes, I will have some oysters." This place is like, "Do you want some oysters?" And you go, "Yes," and they go, "Okay. Here's the 16 different kind of oysters we have." You know what I mean? Like they have like that many different kind of oysters. So yeah, hangover, get me into that place, and I'll sit there for 4 hours and I'll eat like 32 oysters. And it's probably one of the most disgusting. Most people would actually throw up thinking of eating oysters with a hangover.
Yes, actually.
But to me, it's like beautiful. Like it's exactly what I want. That is like, yes, perfect. And it's actually
what place is this?
Doc McGrogan's.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, on Mondays they do dollar oysters, and usually they have anywhere between 8 to 15 oysters. And me and my buddy, what we'll do is we'll go there. They do it. They start at 4. It's bucket shuck starts at 4 and it goes till whenever. But if you get there at 5, you're fucked. It's like Breakers. If you don't get to Breakers at noon. If you get there at like 1 in the afternoon, you're fucked. You're not sitting down. You're not doing it. So me and him will show up at 4, and we'll sit there from like 4 to like 7, 8, 9 o'clock. And then we'll just order. What we'll do is we'll order 2 of each oyster. We'll be like, okay, we have these 10 oysters. They'll like give us 2 of each, and then we'll each eat one, and then find out that because oysters are very they change week by week because oysters they live in the ocean, depending on the temperature and salinity and all that stuff, they can change. And then we'll find out which ones are awesome that day. And then we'll be like, okay, we'll take 5 of those and 10 of those and 8 of those and 6 of those. And then we'll sit there and eat and then drink some beers and then talk, hang out, and then be like, oh, let me get another dozen of those and do that for like hours. You know what I mean? And it's, yeah. I mean, granted, the 7 Chimay Reds, I'm sure, has something to do with me feeling better too. But, you know.
Yeah, that might. Little hair of the dog, as it were.
Yeah. Speaking of hair of the dog, I have a beer mail coming
tomorrow. Go on.
I have a beer mail coming tomorrow from an awesome viewer. It was funny because I think he's been watching my reviews for a while. The way he talks, he has, but I've never talked to him before. Up until I decided to change formats. When I kind of decided to change, going from giving reviews a score or anything like that, I decided to just kind of be arbitrary about it. So a gentleman by the name of David, he was like, he wrote me in a comment section. I don't believe he ever wrote before. He's like, oh man, please don't not score your beers. He's like, I really like that. I'm really going to try to score them without giving an arbitrary number. Like, I think you're going to get the gist of it. You know what I mean? Of what I'm saying without giving it some kind of letter or number. I think it's going to work better. And he's like, okay. And we got talking back and forth. And he sent me on a beer mail last week. And I'm getting it tomorrow. And it's in Lewisberry, PA right now. So it's going to be here tomorrow. And it is 7.2 pounds of beer, which is a lot of fucking beer. Like, usually if there's 7 pounds of beer in a box, I could be wrong, but typically, unless it's packed like a maniac, like when Sean sent me, C-word Sean, sent me that. He sent me a lot of beer, but it was 20 pounds. But he also packed it like a maniac. But he also sent me 10 bombers and 750, so that's a lot of beer. That's usually like 7 to 10 beers. And it's supposedly a decent amount of it is Hair to Dog stuff. So I'm really excited. He went to Hair to Dog to pick up beer to send me. But he lives like a couple miles away from the brewery. So he's like, they were coming out with that one they came out with the beer aged in concrete. And he's like,
we were talking about that last week.
Yeah, and he was like, I'll try to pick one of those up for you. And then he was like, he wrote me. He sent you one that's like already 2 years old from my basement. I was like, oh really? So I'm kind of like super excited for his beer mail tomorrow. I'm like,
nice.
I don't, and that's the thing. Like, typically, I don't drink any beer on. I shouldn't say don't. I try not to drink any beers when I have work the next day. But I think tomorrow might be an exception because I'm gonna get that beer mail and I'm just gonna be like, I gotta drink something out of this fucking thing.
Oh god,
it's so good when it touches your lips. So yeah, because we did because I'm super excited because it's been a while since I had Hair to Dog, and then last week we had that Otto from the Wood.
Which was,
and it was so delicious, you know.
Price point was not very delicious, but you know.
Yeah, but that's the thing though. I've spent money on beers. Not that I bought that beer, you bought that beer, but I've spent money on beers, and I've been like, fuck, man. Like, this sucks. That beer, you wish it was cheaper, but it's not like you felt like you got gypped.
No,
you're like, okay, I understand where the flavor, it was worth the money.
Where the fuss is coming from.
Yeah, it was worth the money. You just wish it was a little bit cheaper.
Yeah.
Okay, you want to do a review?
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna do a review here. My dog will let me. Bisco's doing his typical fucking douchebaggy thing over here.
I was gonna mention that he came in a little early this time.
Yeah, he's just he's Bisto up here. That's Bisto. He's the star of the show. He's it's getting close to the time where I FLOD him, so he's being a little bit pushy right now, trying to figure out how to get his shit earlier. So.
Yeah.
He has no idea who I'm talking to, so he's kind of confused right now. Looking at
what the world? What are you doing?
Yeah, so we're doing a 2012 Lagunitas Brown Sugar. Now, you'd be like, why the fuck would you drink an aged fucking IPA? Was that what this is considered? Is this considered an American Strong Ale? I think
this is considered American Strong Ale.
Okay, I don't have a bottle opener, so I'm going to have to use these pliers here. Or try to use them. Look at that. Oh, see that?
Oh.
I can open a beer with anything, man. So yeah, it's look that up real quick while I pour this. If you can, I don't know if you have something you can look it up. So, but
Untapped.
It's a 9.9%. I believe it's an American Strong Ale. It can be aged. and be fine. So
Yeah, American Strong Ale. It says
okay, good.
Lagunitas sucks, which is not this. Is classified IPA, double IPA. So
Nice. It looks pretty damn nice. I mean, the head looks awesome. Like super. I got really tight, compact bubbles out of it. Infinitely creamy top from it. It has got a really subtle, like almost like dream-like carbonation. It looks actually dense. It looks thick. It's like a nice copper. It looks like a slightly aged fucking old ale. I mean, it has like a little bit of like a brownish added to like a honey reddish kind of color. It just looks really cool.
Yeah.
Let's see what she smells like, baby. I'm getting pine, man. I'm still getting a nice pine nose off of it.
I'm getting like a citrusy nose on mine.
Yeah, that too. I'm getting a lot of shugga. Be on the nose. Yeah, I'm definitely getting a lot of that kind of like brown sugar.
Yeah, I think on the side it says, we believe this special ale is something unique, feeding brown cane sugar to otherwise cultured brewery yeast is akin to feeding raw shark to your gerbil. Okay, it is unlikely to occur in nature without human intervention, and looks weird besides. But it happened, and now it's too late. Cool.
Yeah, I mean that hop presence I'm getting on the nose definitely smells like an old like that. The guys like to say that whole goes to hops fast thing, to where you tell that there was a larger hop presence there, but I'm not quite sure I'm going to get a lot of it in the mouth. You know, but yeah, I mean she smells.
I'm actually surprised that this much of it has stuck around in the aroma. You know, that's like everybody always says like, oh, aroma is the first thing to go. It's like, well, really, this is 2 to 3 years old. And
what's the IBU?
The aroma is
51.1, so it's not huge. Meaning, especially for such a high ABV beer. And like that brown sugar is almost borderline on instead of being like straight up like brown sugar, it's like a cooked, reduced, like caramelized brown sugar, where it's a bit more rich. You know. Yeah, let's dive in, baby.
Smells good.
Cheers.
Cheers. Yeah.
The second it gets in your mouth, it's awesome. It's like a big punch of caramel, kind of brown sugar sweetness. It's like almost like, it's a strong ale that's dressing up as an American barley wine. It's like cross-dressing as an American barley wine is what it is. Which it can kind of split hairs on that style, I guess you'd say. But that's nice. I don't think age has done this badly. I actually think age might help it even more. I think if it were to sit another 4 to 5 years, you'd be all right. You know.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I did a review of this fairly fresh back when I was doing video reviews. I don't know if it ever made it out there or not, but I definitely think time did this well.
This is giving me serious, like, and I don't want to use the word watered down because that's almost negative, but it's giving me like serious, like watered down Bigfoot vibes.
I can kind of see that, actually.
Yeah, it's not like, and I don't mean watered down as in like a negative thing. It's just like a Bigfoot light. You know, it's give me that vibe, man.
Yeah.
Or even their version, their old gnarly line light, like that kind of thing. Even though it's not light, it's fucking 10%. It's not a fucking light beer, you know.
I would actually say like a different variation of gnarly wine.
Are you getting more pine now? You getting a little bit more resin?
I do. I get more pine in the flavor than I did on the aroma.
Yeah. That's a good beer. That's a good beer, man.
Yeah. Nice.
Good.
Nice, like sugary. Like that brown sugar is really adding a nice dimension, even with the age on it.
Yeah, it's like almost like if I were to put it this way, like the brown sugar, like I said, it's more mature. It's like a caramelized brown sugar, like a molassesy kind of fucking caramel mixture. But the hop is also like a same thing. It's not like when people associate hops, they say pine. It's not like pine needles. It's almost like a pine sappiness. Like almost like it's more dank. It's more earthy. It's more sticky. It's not as brighter like that. That super pininess. It's not like that. It's like just kind of muddled and dirty.
Do you think? Because we both know how I age my beers and how I have my beers. Do you think that played into how well this has held up?
You mean as far as like? Well, I mean, you have optimal. You're basically listen. A lot of great aged beers. A lot of great aged beers come from Europe, come from the Netherlands, come from Belgium, comes like stuff like that. Not because they know anything better. It's because the way their temperature is, the way their cycle of seasons go, and we're very similar in that sense. So, I mean, your basement, if your basement ever gets above 70, I would be surprised, and that's probably a stretch. And I'm pretty sure your basement never gets below 40, and that's probably a stretch. It's probably more between 65 to like 45, and those are like the max high and lows. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mean, your basement, and you have it on your, I guess you'd say your front wall of your basement. I don't remember. I mean, you do have some small fucking windows, but there's no direct light being shown on any of your beers. Like there's no way light can actually really hit them. And it's kind of like a perfect kind of environment for it. So yeah, I would say a lot of that goes in the way you have them done. You have them all stacked nice and neat. I'm sure worst case scenario, if you had some fucking light fucking spoilage or whatever, it'd just be on the front row of beers. There's no way it's getting behind it.
And this was actually, these two bottles were actually front row of the 12-ounce shelf on the left-hand unit.
Left-hand unit on the far right of the left-hand unit. I remember grabbing them. I'm like, what do you want to review? I was like, let's review this motherfucker.
Yeah.
I remember grabbing them. Yeah.
The one thing that I did like, just to go back about this bottle share, one thing that I did like was we opened more stuff off my shelf. I feel like my stuff from my collection, like we'll open a couple of things, but usually it's not
that much.
Not that much.
A lot of what you have needs to start being opened.
Yes. There's
stuff that's in there for the long haul, but yeah, there's some stuff in there that needs to be opened. So, I mean, all selfishness aside, I actually had fun because you just kind of sat there and I was grabbing stuff and I'd be like, well, what do you think about these? You know what I mean? Or what do you think about this? And every so often I'd be like, how about all these eclipses? We can just open these right now.
I'm like, if we're doing that, we're open all of them.
And then I was like, yeah, I don't want to die. Imagine we drunkenly made a mistake of opening those.
Oh my god!
You would have been dead. You would have died.
Yeah. Oh, another. That's real quick. That's what we should do anymore. Just be like, you go and grab something off my shelf, and just open it.
Okay.
Or just a quick double check, or use your own judgment. But
no. Basically, what happened last time, I'm not going to grab stuff of yours and open it, but be like, okay, kind of plan it out and be like, what do you think of these? Kind of like what I did we ended up drinking them all, but I grabbed the three. I grabbed the Wolf, I grabbed the Siberian Night, and I grabbed that 120. I'm like, which ones? And you're like, that one. I'm like, okay, I'll put these two down here because we're going to drink those anyway. So it's like, it's like some bizarre game of name that tune or some shit. I don't even know what you're fucking call it. So back to the beer real quick.
Because I know we opened up 2011 Bigfoot that night. And
go ahead.
Well, I brought up a 2011 Bigfoot and a 2012 Bigfoot. And my buddy had 2014. So we were going to do a little vertical. And one of his roommates fucking drank my 2011 Bigfoot.
So you brought it up, left it there.
I left it at his house. He has one of those chest freezers basically that people will convert into a keg cooler, like a kegerator. He has one of those. So I stuck it in there. Whatever, we'll be back. We'll do it eventually. The dude fucking drank it.
That's against the rules, man.
Yeah. Ian, my buddy Ian was fucking fuming over that. He's like, no, that was not. First off, that was not your beer to drink. Second, that wasn't even my beer.
I'll one up you on this, and it's actually not from me, but my fucking buddy Wade, when he fucking had, my buddy Wade has a decent amount of fucking beer. He doesn't keep it all in his place in Pennsylvania, but he has a nice fucking collection. Of good stuff. And
I have to tell Wade my favorite thing about him at some point,
which is
the fact that he doesn't look like the way that he looks like you don't fucking know shit about beer. like you drink fucking Keystone and like Natty Ice is what you drink. That is my favorite thing about him.
He'll be like, yeah, that's right, motherfucker. But he was gone. He lives in Jersey, and basically he comes up here, and he came up, and like a niece of his who is like, kind of, I guess, like a little bit like, well, I don't know the word I want to use, like a little bit defying or whatever, went over his house, got keys, went over his house, and had like a little like hangout party with her and her friends, and they drank like a bunch of his like aged beers and shit like that, not knowing like. Yeah, just like they're just like, hey, here's this beer, we'll drink it. It was like a bunch of like old stocks and Hardee's and shit like that. You know what I mean?
That does one up my story.
Yeah, he wasn't happy, man. Ugh. But anyway, back to this beer. Let's talk about it for a bit.
Yeah.
From what I remember, I definitely like it more now than I did when it was originally came out. The age has done well for me. Is it? Let's see. It's probably one of the better Lagunitas beers I've had as of late, man. I'm not going to say it's one of the better beers I've had as of late because I've had a plethora of awesomeness, but this is this does not suck, man. I'm really enjoying it.
I would put this. I would put this right up there with Gnarly Wine. It's really sending me like Gnarly Wine vibes.
It is, but here's the thing. I just literally when Sean sent me that beer mail, one of the things he sent me was a new Gnarly Wine, so I could do a side by side of an aged Gnarly Wine, and that an 2009 old Gnarly Wine. Yeah, it destroys this. Again, older.
I would imagine.
So. It's definitely up there. I remember I think Brown Shugga was no, it actually wasn't. Brown Shugga was the first bottle of Lagunitas I ever had.
Okay.
The first Lagunitas beer I ever had was their Hairy Eyeball, and I was a big fan of it. I went to that wine and spirit shop in New Jersey that I like to go to, and I got a funny story about that one actually too, and I went there and I actually purposely picked it up. I was like, okay, I'm like, and this is, 3 years ago before we can get Lagunitas or whatever. And and I picked it up. I bought this and then I brought a little something extra. And but then it's Jersey, so it's a bar and a bottle shop in one, and they had Hairy Eyeball draft. So I actually had a draft and then brought it home, and then so it was within an hour. You know what I mean, with my first one. But funny story, I'll post it. When we went down to Kane, I heard about the place I'm talking about is a place called Freebridge Wine and Spirits in Phillipsburg, New Jersey. It's right across the bridge from Easton, Pennsylvania, so it's right in New Jersey. And people who don't know the difference between Pennsylvania and Jersey when it comes to bottle shops is like night and day. Pennsylvania is all state regulated, distributor regulated. Like it's just a nightmare. No, cases in 12 packs have to be set. Well, not anymore. You do cases in 12 packs distributor, and then you got 4 packs, 6 packs. Anyway, in Jersey, it's like whatever the fuck you want to do. You want a case of absinthe and fucking 16 gallons of scotch and 1 beer, and then this wine. Knock yourself out. Fucking whatever you want to do. So it's like I would always go to Jersey to get beer. And that's the one place I went to. And like the owner lady, super cool. Like she's probably pushing her 50s and she's super hot. Like just, I always found her really attractive, but in a crazy way. And that's actually how I heard about Kane for the first time. I went there and it was before Kane was even like bottling stuff. She had these two like bottles. She was telling me about them. She's like, yeah, she's like, you really need to pay attention to this brewery because they're gonna blow up. And I was like, okay, yeah. You know what I mean? So fast forward to this weekend, and I tell Michael, the owner of Kane, the story. I'm like, actually heard about you guys a couple years ago, 2 years ago. I'm in PA, but I used to live in Easton, so I would go. Even now, I stop at this place called Freebridge Wine and Spirits to pick up beer, and that's how I found out about you guys. Because then I told him the same thing I just said to you. And he's like, yeah. And he's like, started laughing. He's like, yeah, she's he's sitting there and we're talking. We said a couple things. He's like, yeah. He's like, we do beer there, and she's just. And I'm like, yeah, she's just. And we literally have it on video. And he goes, yeah, she's crazy. When he said it in unison, like it was like we were trained to say it. You know what I mean? Like it's like I'm gonna see if I can fucking bring it up because it's that fucking funny. That we say it literally in unison. We're like, yeah, she's fucking crazy. You know what I mean? But in the best way. So it was like,
that's awesome.
Yeah. So that's I went down there and that's where I had my first fucking lagunitas, and it was pretty fucking good.
If we're on the topic of first lagunitas, while you try to pull this video up, my first lagunitas beer was probably a little something. And I bought it at Mari's Six Pack and Go, I believe is the actual name, in Reading.
Yeah.
And I found out about this place because Amanda used to go to, she graduated from Kutztown University, so I would go down and visit her. So I always want to do beer shit, much to probably her just putting up with my crap. So I found out about this place, and we actually took one of her friends one of the times that we went. And the first time we went there, I'm like, I've heard of Lagunitas. I've never had it before. And I kind of figured that, like, Reading is on what I called the outskirts of, like, the Philly market.
Yeah, so, their Philly distribution is what they are.
Yeah.
Like, when they get distributed stuff, they get Philly stuff.
Yeah, like, they won't get all the stuff that, like, bottle shops in Philly or, like, in the immediate area of Philly will get, but they'll still, like, there's some bleed out. So I was able to pick up a little something, and I fucking loved that beer. And then any Lagunitas beer that I could find, I'm like, yes, please. One, we've said this a bunch of times. It's either priced the way beer should be priced,
yes,
or super fucking cheap because the dude's a massive stoner.
So here, I think I have it. I think I have it on the part where.
Dark middle of New Jersey wasn't what I thought it was. I really thought there were more people into that stuff.
Yeah, little blinders on. You love it so much, so people will love it.
Well, I was like, oh.
Jersey. I'm like, really? And that's how I found out. It's like, this Belgian, this is weird. You know what I mean? She's crazy.
Yes, everyone always says that. But she's
like, literally saying it exactly like, yeah, she's crazy. You know what I mean? Like, in a good way. That was such a good time.
I have to take a trip down to Weyerbacher and find this place.
We'll do it, man. When you come back from school, we'll do the trip, man. We'll go down there. We could do the same trip we did today. It's actually, we were going to do Weyerbacher on our way back, but we were like White Castle, Weyerbacher, White Castle, because it actually, like, the way it worked out is Kane opens at noon, and then Carton closes at 5.
Yeah.
And then I think Weyerbacher closes at 7. So we're what we were trying to do was do Kane, then go to fucking stay there for an hour or two, do carton for an hour or so, then leave around like 4:30, and then get to fucking Weyerbacher around like 6.
Yeah.
So you do it's easy. That bottle shop is like feet away. So one afternoon when you get back, we'll pick a Saturday, just fucking do the loop, and it's a nice day. It's an awesome day. Fucking like you would be absolutely seriously impressed with fucking Kane, man. The way they run
sure it would be. What I've had from them so far has been fantastic.
And that's the thing, like everything across the board, like their beers, even like their IPAs, they're so good, dude. So good. And you know me, like you have to really do something good when you do an IPA. You
gotta really twist your arm for you to get on board with some IPAs.
Mm-hmm. And it just they know what they're doing. It's made really well. It's priced awesome. Like their $7.50, the $7.50 of the Fall Saints, which is like I said, it was like their fall beer. It was $12. You know what I mean? Like their anniversary or their Solero Method Belgian Quad, Solero Method in like bourbon, and then this year rum, Solero Method Belgian Dark was $16 for $7.50. Like, you know what I mean? Like that bottle of beer is what the brewery does, and they charge $30. So they charge half. Mm-hmm. Half. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's kooky, you know? Like, we did, I'm trying to think, the rest of it, like, even like I bought this, like, a nice Belgian glass. Like, even shit like that.
I like that. I like that style glass.
It's a little bit bigger than your, like, this is they kind of look the same size on camera, but it's a little bit bigger than your atypical Belgian style. It's a little bit, nice, thick. $5. Yeah, you know what I mean? $5. Like, you can't beat that with a fucking stick. You know, it's like it's not overpriced. It's not underpriced. It's just what it is. You know, and it doesn't suck. Let's put it that way. You texted Amanda?
Yeah.
No. Okay, so we'll move on.
Should we wrap this review
up?
Because we never officially did.
Officially wrapped it up. How do you want to wrap it up? Is it one of the? That's what I was trying to do with the last thing. Is it one of the better Lagunitas beers I've had as of late? Yes. Yeah. Would I buy it again?
I would agree with
an aged version, or no? I'd buy a new or aged to age it. So yes. If you like will you like this? If you like Old Darley One, if you like Bigfoot, if you like that American Strong Ale borderlining on an American barley wine, if you like those beers, then you like this.
If you're a fan of American barley wines, if you're a fan of American strong ales, or the maltier side, which is becoming, I think, a little bit more and more scarce, of double IPAs, I think you'll really like this. If you like beers that you can age, if you're the kind of person that's kind of like us, where you'll buy a 4-pack, drink one, and then another one for 3 years, yeah, pick this 4-pack up. I think it'll do you pretty right. You know.
There you go, man. Pick that shit up. Age it. Don't be afraid to age shit. That's all. That's all I have to say. So let's move on to the second part. Explain to people what we're going to do in the second part, and I'm going to go to the bathroom, and I'll be right back.
All right. Let me pull up the list here. So, second topic we're going to segue into is beers that we'll drink regardless of the season, and then probably some winter favorites. Like I said before, either beers or styles in general. For me, beers that I'll drink kind of regardless of the season, I kind of mentioned this before, but a lot of bigger beers, a lot of maltier beers, stouts, barley wines, anything really out of a barrel. I'll kind of drink that regardless of the season, but season doesn't always correlate with temperature outside. It's November here in Canada, and it was really warm. So it's probably, let me check the temperature right now. It's 41 degrees outside, so it's fairly cold. Earlier today, I think it was probably in the 60s or 70s, probably 60s. Yeah, I could probably drink a lower ABV stout, maybe a little bit, something a little roasty. But am I going to instantly reach for Grasshopper? Probably not. Not as much as I did over the summer. What I'm kind of really going for more often, like when it starts to cool down, I'll start going into the lower spectrum, but at the lowest I'll go in those beers that I like. Stouts, I typically don't like anything that's below 8%, or 7.5 is usually my cutoff. I think they get a little bit too roasty. Anything lower than that, yeah, that's kind of where I like to sit. Barley wines, I think I'll drink those basically regardless of the I was kind of laying out like the styles that I'll typically drink regardless of season, or like stouts, barley wines, anything out of any barrel aged beer. And like I said before, it was more temperature dependent. I like it to be kind of cool outside. I don't want to feel, or be indoors. I don't want to sit outside on a patio and drink a barley wine. Granted, your Memorial Day barbecue is just that.
Yeah, I mean, beers that I'll drink regardless of the season.
Are you looking for beers were you thinking of beers in general, like a specific beer? Like I'll drink, for you, Good and Carlos.
Yeah, I mean,
regardless of the season.
There's so many though, dude. I could list like Hardy, Carlos, Old Stock, fucking. Oh my God, Kulmbach Eisbach, fucking. There's a lot of like ones that Troganator. Fucking, I'll drink any of that shit anytime.
Yeah, Troganator. I would do that just about any time.
But then they're like, so you go to the dark end, you go like that Belgian. I will drink any Belgian or Trappist beer pretty much any time. I mean, sans the Orval or something like that I'm not a big fan of. But you're giving me a Chimay.
Yeah, but that's also still like that's the whole Belgian lighter body with the same alcohol.
Yeah, but no, I'll drink a triple or a single. I have no problem with that at any time. It's just that
some doubles,
and some triples and some singles,
and quadruples,
yeah. I said double somewhere. It just came out of my mouth accidentally, and I think I punched myself in the face.
I'm surprised you didn't just immediately
light myself on fire.
Just punch yourself right in the stomach. The second you say double.
Yeah, so I double over in pain. But yeah, like fucking like there's it have to be almost the opposite. It have to be not what beers I'll drink regardless of season, what beers won't I drink regardless of season. Like it has to be it would have to be like winter warmers, or it would have to be pumpkin beers.
Pumpkin beers, I'm not a huge I'm super specific on the pumpkin beers that I like now, and they've been the most recent pumpkin beers that you've shared with me. That's Good Gourd and Fall Saint, or George. Sorry, I'm giving you credit for something George brought.
But it's what I'm saying is like those are the beers that I need to be like. Fall Saints I could drink anytime, but I'm talking more atypical pumpkin beers. It has to be the fall for me to drink those. Gingerbread stout, that has to be You know what I mean? Like, it has to be around Christmas, man. I know I would like it outside of that time, but my brain just forces me to make, I don't know, something about it.
Just
that it gets
mood-wise.
so
Like,
much Christmas vibe off of it that it's not a seasonal vibe. It's a timeline vibe, an experience vibe.
Mm-hmm.
And there's beers like that I would have to pigeonhole into a specific time or place. There's so many beers that I drink outside of the time when you're supposed to drink them that I could sit here for 19 hours and be like, yeah, this one, all these, everything, all this.
We talked about it before, but the kind of like distributor manufactured like wheat beers are for summer, but people will drink wheat beers all year round. I'm not a huge fan of them. I like very specific. I like Belgian wheat beers more than German. So that's kind of a style that I typically kind of like shy away from. It's like, it's not that I'm like some kind of like beer expert or whatever, and that all wheat beers are like, oh, you just got into craft beer? Here's a wheat beer. But I kind of look at them as super situational. Like it needs to be like a super hot day, and I'm actually outside doing something, not just sitting around, and then like, oh yeah, a wheat beer would probably sit pretty nice right now.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people that many of my friends have come into craft beer through the wheat beer door, and that's just fine.
Yeah, I mean, that's how a lot of people do. You know what I mean?
But but for me, I went headfirst into hops, and then found malty beer.
Yeah, basically.
But yeah, like I said, wheat beers for me just don't typically do it all the time. Other than that, pumpkin beers, I think my not particularly liking pumpkin beers is the fact that they come out mid-July, and I'm like, I just don't give a fuck about you now.
I get that. I get that.
I'm one of them.
Did you watch my video about the fucking Maple Mistress? Did you watch that? Probably not.
Probably not.
I did.
George's rant.
That's one of the best reviews ever in the history of mankind. But the whatchamacallit? I drank a Maple Mistress every month. I drank one in July, August, September, and October, and recorded me kind of reviewing it each time. So and kind of like talked about what I tasted to see if there was if it mattered that they came out. And my conclusion, and it was obviously I'm not a fucking scientist here, so it is what it is. But my conclusion is that it's a good thing they come out in July, because I think that 4 months treats the beer well in the bottle. I think 4 months is about wheelhouse. When a beer starts to taste, again, it was just the Maple Mistress, so it varied from beer to beer.
The problem with that then is, like, is that gonna be whose responsibility is it to age it for that 4 months? Is it the brewery, where they're gonna have it in house, and now that beer is potentially higher priced, versus it comes out mid-July, you don't drink it till October. Now, the two of us will.
Sorry, go ahead.
Like, the two of us will age beer for years, but the average person is typically going to buy something and drink it within 2 to 3 weeks max. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, though. Like, honestly, I'm probably not going to buy Maple Mistress and age it. I'm not going to sit on it. But if I go out and I start buying some, maybe I look at dates and try to find older ones. You know what I mean? It's not so much that I'm gonna go out and purchase a bunch of old ones. It's not a beer that I'm particularly keen on aging. I'm not a big. I don't like aging pumpkin beers because the two things that are going to drop out are the two things I give a shit about, which is typically going to be mouthfeel and fucking the spice, which is kind of the core of the beer. And there's been some aged pumpkin beers that come off kind of like medicinally soapy to me when they're aged. So it's not necessarily best kind of.
I think like as much as I like Weyerbacher, I think their Imperial Pumpkin is actually a little bit soapy.
It is. And when you age it, it's incredibly soapy. I drank. I never posted. I should just show. I need to put like a huge dump of videos on the internet and not just give a fuck because I don't want to overload like the internet with just videos because I know like if I put up like 20 videos one day, I'll lose like a ton of subscribers and all that bullshit. But
yeah,
people
will seriously unsubscribe if you put up a bunch of videos in one day.
Oh my god, yeah. Oh yeah.
Those people.
Yeah, I mean it is what it is. But anyway, I should put
they have better things to do than me.
Yeah. Well, you're talking about a guy who does beer reviews who doesn't watch beer reviews. So
yeah, really.
Yeah. I do. Here's the weird thing: is like I always come off like people don't say shit about it, but I know like it's like I don't watch beer reviews because I don't like knowing about beers. Like the only beer reviews I'll watch are beers I've already had.
Yeah.
And most people put up beer reviews of beers from their region, or they put up the newest beer or whatever. So when a beer comes out, like I put up like Dogfish Head's Higher Math. Like I put that up, and I was excited. Not the first person to put it up, not because I was first, because I knew nobody. I didn't have to watch. I don't have to watch anybody else's video until now. When I see it pop up, I'll watch it. Like I don't have to think about it. Like there'll be videos pop up and I'll be like, oh, I'll watch this, and I'll stop watching it immediately and be like, I don't want to watch this video because I haven't had this beer, because I feel like it's weird to have some kind of outside influence on any of that shit. So it's like I purposely like the videos I comment on are only shit I've had. So I'm like constantly not talking to people about beer. Anyway.
What Breaker beer are you drinking, by the way?
I'm not drinking a Breaker beer. I'm drinking a cane beer. It's just in a Breaker growler. Yeah.
Nice.
I figured, I was going down, and I figured, I might as well. I wanted to bring the Breaker growler just because I was like, yeah, might as well bring homeboy shit. I mean, it's your growler, so I figured I'd use it.
Is it my growler?
Oh yeah, remember we did the Breaker reviews?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So this is yours.
That actually might be one of those little growlers is mine, and I think the other one is actually Chris's.
But the best part about it is they took the shitty white cap off, and they're like, do you want this cap? And I'm like, no, and they gave me these new sealable, they're actually self-sealing kind of cap to throw on it. They're like, yeah, so it actually kind of seals it when you tighten it. You know what I mean? I was like, yeah, you throw away the white ghetto cap. And they're like, I don't care about that. Yeah, so I brought it down. I brought this down there.
So the one day that I get that growler back, it's not gonna have a cap on it.
No, it'll have this cap on it. Although I upgraded your fucking growler, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, I have Chris and I have the only swing top Breaker growler in existence.
The one you're talking about, I think it's actually that is the growler that actually Kane uses. The one that you're the fatty ones, those big fat belly ones.
Yeah, the similar ones to what Russian River uses.
I think it might be the same. When you bring up a picture,
it's like I can't even. What would it be fucking similar to? I don't know. It's like a very circular kind of like old like
these are this is what the cane growl their big ones look like.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's what the, like I said, the only Breaker growler. Has that kind of old school vibe, like those big fatty growlers. Yeah, that's the ones they had down there. And I was like, oh, that's the one I think I saw it one time, and I was like, I think that's the one that Joe has, but from Breaker. Yeah, like I said, the only swing top. We're trying, Chris and I, for the longest time, we're trying to get them on board with swing top growlers, and we're like, they last so much fucking longer. Like they're so much better. It's well worth the money. Like we understand that it's not our money buying this stuff, but we're telling you, like, your customer will be way happier.
Nice. Oh man. So what else have we got? Do we cover all points here? We done? Winter favorites. Oh, we didn't cover that. Our favorite winter beers.
Yes, winter beers.
Or favorite seasonal beers in general, I guess you were going for. But we focus on the winter ones. You go first, and I'll follow. Unless you want me to go first, because I can go first. I don't give a shit.
You go first. I went first on.
So, favorite winter beers. Let's do this. First off, nod the cap to fucking Belgium. Anything that, I like. I actually, and that's funny, I actually don't like a lot of fucking Travis for Belgian beers. They're winter ones, but I've drank so many of them, they just have a soft place in my heart. So, your St. Bernardus Christmas, stuff like that. But there's some I love. I fucking despise licorice, okay? But I love Guten Carlous Noel. Guten Carlous Noel, to me, it's Christmas. That's my favorite Christmas beer. It's an anise bomb, so there's a ton of black licorice going on. I love it in my beers, so that works for me. Second up, into the new year, you get, again, Guten Carlous der Kaiser Blau. That's not just one of the best seasonal beers. That is one of the best beers in the history of Earth. Not even Earth with a TH. It's Earth with a bunch of F's.
Earth.
That's how awesome it is. Earth. So yeah, that shit is fucking delicious. Rolling into the springtime, I'm trying to think. Springtime beer. What really gets my fucking balls tingling for spring? Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm trying to think. There's something bright and blonde. I don't know, man. Honestly. Yeah. You know me. I am I'm a dark guy. So you roll into the summertime seasonal beer. I'm starting to get a little bit of fucking taste for that New England fucking IPA stuff that I make fun of all those hipsters. Oh, here's some shit. Let's do this. Pause the pause button.
Okay.
So 2 points I want to talk about. First point, okay, we'll talk about this. See, I want to get your thoughts on this because this is actually happening. Like, we were driving down to or being driven down to fucking Kane. Yeah. It was me, George, Derek, who I do the show with, and Billy. Billy, you've never met Billy. Billy, he owns Backyard Ale House. He does the radio show too. He was driving, and along the way, George is spitting out like beer stuff because George is like a fucking Rain Man when it comes to beer and stuff. Yeah, pretty much. And he was talking about how like his buddies were waiting. They were going to Other Half. Other Half is a super hipster Brooklyn brewery. You make really fantastic beers. I've had them. They're really good. I'm not trying to besmirch them by saying the word hipster, but they said they were releasing 2 of their beers. It was one was Green Diamonds and the other one was whatever. There was 2 canned beers, and basically what it was okay, hey, it's going to be a 4-pack limit at the beginning of the week. Okay, everybody who comes to this release, you can only get 4 packs total, whether it's 4 of one or 2 of each or whatever. And then 3 days up to it, they're like, okay, it's probably going to be more like 2. We're not sure.
Yeah.
And then the morning of, the people are waiting in line. They're like, okay, it's going to be 1 4-pack a person. Well, everybody's already in line. Or something close to that. It was they cut the count down by like a crazy amount because they saw the line was really long. Okay, now when you see that, kind of thing where they're like, okay, wow, this line is crazy long. Let's make it one 4-pack per person.
Yeah.
Or 2 4-packs, whatever it is. I'm probably off on my counts, but the point I'm trying to make is not being right on the counts. I'm talking about counts being taken down because they saw the line was long. I had a fucking problem with that because the count shouldn't fucking change. It should be like whoever's in line first gets it, and whoever's not in line, whoever didn't get here earlier doesn't get any. Like, that's to me how it should have worked.
I think people will. I'm in a weird fucking spot where, yeah, like I'm literally looking at this from literally both sides. From the person standing in line, had they come out and said, it's here till it's gone. You know, whatever we said last time per person is still standing. If you don't get me, tough. I would, if I were in line and I was like the first person to not get me, like, okay,
but then
whatever.
you know what, you should have got there earlier.
Exactly. I'm bummed. Should have got here earlier. Whatever. If I'm there and I got there earlier and I got some, cool, got some. If they came out and I got there earlier, knowing that the price, like the quantity per person was whatever, I'd be like, the fuck did I get here 3 hours early for? Or however many hours. Like, what the shit? Then the people toward the back of the line are like, all right, cool, I could probably still get some. Even though I, like, slept in a little bit and, like, fucking got here whenever the fuck I felt like it. You know, but still before they opened or whatever. And now, do the flip side of someone who will potentially be opening a brewery one day. I'm not going to say that I'm going to have a brewery like fucking other half. Or Kane, or whatever. And I'll have people lining up down the block for a beer, you know, as much as cool as it probably will be. From their perspective, I don't know how much they packaged. They probably thought they were going to get this much one day, and they put out, hey, it's this per person. Then they're packaging it, and they're like, oh, it's actually this per person. Then saw how many people were outside because of the earlier it's this per person, and went, we're not going to have a lot of this sitting around. This is going to go real fucking quick. Let's make it this per person now. And I think where I'm getting at now is what they probably should have done was packaged it, saw how much they had, or did however, like, packaged it in cans or however they did it. Saw how much they had, and then kind of anticipated a number. And went, if X amount of people come here, this is how many per person they can get, and then everyone else is tough shit, you should have got here earlier.
Yeah, see,
that's kind of how I would do it, where I would package it first and then say a number. Say it's.
I don't care if you package it first, package it last, package it sideways, package it upside down. You give a fucking number. You give a fucking number, and then you give a number. You say the number.
Exactly. That's where I'm getting. As a brewery owner, I'm gonna piss more people off by morning of saying, "Hey, it's whatever," than going first come first serve.
Yeah.
Put out there first come first serve. People understand that.
Yeah.
They understand that if I really want some, I should get there early. If there's any left over, cool.
And that's the thing. Like if you have a number, you stick to it, and then somebody doesn't get any. The only thing you could say is get there earlier next time. It's not my fault that you didn't get here in time. Like, that's what I mean. But when you try to cater to like people and at the go, and that's the only time you should change your number is when you're like, let's say you're getting towards the end and there's not. Let's say you're getting towards the end and you still have 1,000 bottles left. You go, okay, no limits now. Everybody have at it. You know what I mean? You want to come back in line? You want to buy more? Knock yourself out. You know what I mean? But it shouldn't go the other way.
Neshaminy Creek did that. I don't think they had a bottle limit on their like bourbon barrel aged concrete pillow, but they did the bottle release. They posted pictures of it. It's like, hey, releasing such and such a date. Come down to the brewery, pick up a bottle in shop only for purchases. And then it's like, all right, cool. A couple of days later, they're like, hey, we still have bottles. Come back to the brewery and get some, no limit. You know?
Yes.
I think that's fine. If you're going to put out what I was getting at before is like the side of like the person coming to the release. If you were one of the first people in line, say first 50 people, and you heard like the limit that you heard earlier in the week is now cut in half, it's like, it's exactly what I said. Like, what the fuck? Why did I bother coming early if I knew that like there was a really good chance of me getting some?
Yeah.
And now I got here early, and now I get less. No,
it drives me insane with that shit because I like again, not to continue to fucking champion Keen, but like the way they do it, they're like, okay, they do it. They don't do any kind of lead up to their bottle releases. It will be like Friday night, like 5 p.m. Like, okay, tomorrow's this beer. We have these many bottles. We open at this time. Or they'll be like Saturday, like they'll be like, okay, we open at noon. Guess you're open at noon. We'll have this bottle available, and it'll be like a big release. And I'll just be like, in this many bottles, and then they're like, when it's gone, it's gone. Like they'll do like a bottle, and be like, they'll be like, okay, 6 per person, or 2 per person, or 4 per person. They'll be like, okay, this is the number. Come and get it. It is what it is. When it's gone, it's gone. If it's not gone, you can buy more. Whatever. Like don't fuck with it on the fly. Like indecision bothers me so much, in not just in this industry but everywhere. Make a fucking decision and stick with it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Now, flip the script. Same time we're driving down there, and again, this is what I've heard. So whether it's facts, take it for what it is. But the story that I was being told while driving down there, Hill Farmstead had a release. Okay. And there's a bunch of people waiting in line, like, crazy Hill Farmstead craziness. And then I guess a bunch of people in the line started to like talk to everybody in the line and started to purposely quiz them on the beers they're picking up. And when people didn't know exactly what they should know about the beer, they forced them out of line and kicked them out to the point where police showed up.
That's fucking shitty.
Basically what they're doing is they're like, oh, you're a fucking mule. You don't deserve this beer. Get the fuck out. And they physically force them to get the fuck out of there. Yeah. That's what I heard. Again, grain of salt. Take it with that. Facts are facts. This is hearsay. Social media error. Take it for what it is. But typically when you hear, when there's smoke, there's fire. So it's not like you're going to sit here and be like, okay, whatever. That is really fucking retarded.
Yeah, honestly, here's how I would handle that as Hill Farmstead. Good job, guys. No fucking bottle releases now.
Yeah, and that's I've heard that from more than one person that I give a shit what they think. You know what I mean? They'd be like, or close the public completely and be like, okay, go get your beer at the fucking bottle shop now. No more fucking anything from the brewery. Go knock yourself out at a bottle shop.
No fucking, no nothing. No growlers. No bottles in the brewery. No anything. You want to come to this brewery? You get a fucking pint, and that's it. Fuck off.
Yeah.
You want to harass our customers that are coming for a bottle release because they don't know as much as you?
And that's the thing. Like, and here's the weird part is that I actually do. I fucking get it. There's probably people in line that are pissed off about fucking mulers and fucking orders and all that shit. But you know what? There's probably people that go, "Oh my god, I've heard so much about this brewery. Let's just go today. Let's make a trip and go." They don't even know what they're getting into, and then you're gonna excommunicate that person because they just don't know as much as you. That's fucking retarded.
There is someone in that line, if this was true, someone in that line that was forced out of that line went to Hill Farmstead because they were in Vermont on vacation. And they were like, oh, I like beer. Hill Farmstead's pretty cool. Oh, why are all these people lining up?
Yeah, BuzzFeed Thrillist said this is one of the better beers in the country. I'm from fucking Oregon. I'll come here and try their beers.
Oh, I'm just going to assume, a bunch of beer hipsters have now kicked me out of this line. What is this? What is happening now?
Yeah, that I heard, again, I tried to find information on it, day of. I haven't looked in the past day and a half. But if that's true, and I'm not saying it is, but at the same time, why would people make that shit up? Who the fuck knows? But if that actually fucking happened, that's fucking retarded. As fuck.
Let's see. Hill Farmstead. Bottle. Let's see. What would a bottle release? Hill Farmstead. People kicked. I could spell. Mine.
Riveting right now. This is riveting internet.
Riveting, yes, as we look up stuff. No. I
Well, regardless, if you can find it or not.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about it, is that if you find it or not, is it a plausible? Me telling a story, would you go, that's fucking fake? No, you actually are like, that I can see happening easily.
Yeah,
at any fucking release.
Or did not happen. Okay, you could literally take any popular brewery
and see that happening.
Hardywood. See that happen.
Yeah.
Other half. See that happen. Treehouse. See that happen. Trillium.
Yeah.
See that happen. Kane. Carton. Let's get
whoever. Fucking the brewery. Fucking name any of them. Yes.
Yeah.
North Slope.
Any brewery.
Yeah, North Slope. Three guys in a beard. Breaker. Anyway. But yeah, the point is, you can see it happening. It's fucking retarded. Is basically
it's super fucking shitty, regardless of where it happens. And the problem is, the story is centered around Hill Farmstead. If this story was centered around some, like, not to pick out on them, but if the story was centered around a brewery that has the locality of somewhere like Breaker or Three Guys in a Beard or North Slope, you would go, fuck you, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
You know, like no, it did not happen. You know, I like all of those breweries, but they don't have the same recognition. They don't have the same instant recognition as Hill Farmstead does.
Yes.
So the Hill Farmstead aspect of that story makes it way more plausible.
Yes. Which is why I sort of believe it. Anyway. Talk for a second. I'll be back in 2 seconds. Hold on.
All right. I don't know what to talk about because I wanted to use this second to go to the bathroom as well. Fuck. Anyway, beer, like that. Just going back onto that story. That's such a crazy thing. Like, you can imagine it happening, and then at the same time, you really deep down want to believe, like, no, people are fucking better than that. Like, they're not just gonna talk up to a fucking stranger in line and be like, "What beers are you getting? What are you doing here? What's going on?" Like, and you don't answer. You now have to like study for the quiz. It's like you're in fucking high school, and like a pop quiz is today, or like a test you didn't study for is happening, and you're on the spot now, and you gotta fucking either make shit up, or like these people are forcing you out of line. Like, it's fucking crazy to think. Like, I would like to assume that beer is a very inclusive kind of thing, and we're a community. But hearing a potential story like that is like, that's the
worst of the
way
worst.
opposite.
It's like
it is.
It's the reason you don't want to be part of the community, basically.
Exactly. And for all the people that were supposedly forced out of line, whether it happened or not, the people that fucking forced out of line could have very well been mules themselves, or hoarder people. Like, because it doesn't have to be an out-of-town person to mule something, or to hoard something, or to do any shit like that. You know, you could live 2 minutes away from a brewery and hoard every major release that they have. Send. You know,
the problem is self-importance. It's social media self-importance. Basically, what it is so many people. To me, the problem is this. The problem is self-importance. It's social media self-importance. Basically, what it is so many people, like, I forget who wrote a paper on this, but with social media nowadays, everybody thinks their voice is being heard. Like, everybody thinks they're living in a reality show, basically, is how it is. And so when people like do stuff on the internet, they feel like they're the center of attention.
Yeah.
So when people go to, it doesn't even matter if it's a brewery release or a music release or a concert or whatever, they feel like, well, of course I get it. I'm me.
Yeah. Well, I told you about my my buddy's ex-girlfriend who worked at Bellwoods in Toronto, right?
Yes.
And like the dude that had. Like,
do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Everybody else is them.
Well,
like,
I told you about my. Yeah. Well, I told you about my my buddy's ex-girlfriend who worked at Bellwoods in Toronto, right?
Yes.
And like the dude that had like the most check-ins on Untapped was in there, and like his friend, like apparently he was okay, but his friends were like the douchiest people in the world, and are like, you know who this is, right? She's like, the fuck should I? And he's like, they're like, oh, he's got the most check-ins on Untapped. She's like, cool. Like, what do you want me to do about it?
Continue saying stuff till I'm impressed. I'm not sure why you're saying that. Like, maybe that's actually a negative. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, like, you have the most check-ins. Like, okay, cool, whatever.
Yeah. But that's the thing. It's everybody's so they're so self-absorbed with what they're entitled, and they're like, oh my god, I deserve this thing. And
I'll be right back,
when they can't get it, you know what I mean? When they can't get the thing that they feel like they're entitled to, then, you know, all hell breaks loose. They're just like, oh my god, how dare they not give me what I came here for? Don't you understand who I am? I'm me. And it's just like, well, no, you're nobody. You know what I mean? We're fucking nobody. Me and Joe sit here on the fucking internet right now. We are just about a little over 2 hours into a fucking internet show, and we have 0 viewers, and no one's watching, and that we're king shits of nothing. You know what I mean? So, like, it's like, just because you exist doesn't mean you're entitled. And that's kind of like the negative when it comes to like social media today, with fucking, whether it be beer or anything. People just fucking, they feel like they deserve it because they exist. And that's just a whole pile of horse shit is basically what it is. So yeah, that's my 2 cents, and I'm sticking to it.
Cool.
So what do you think? Are we done? We're done with the show for tonight?
I think so.
Yeah.
Did we have another point that did we have something that we were pulling back into because you stopped?
No, we went on a tangent, but it was
two.
we went on a tangent, but it was basically seasonal beers and what we like to drink.
Yeah,
our favorites. And did you have seasonal favorites that you're into?
I mean, not really. I covered it in the first part. It's mostly outside temperature, regardless of season. If it's
the last part was specific beers that come out, like your favorite beers that come out.
I went through a breakfast stout stage. I also went through a pretty heavy insanity stage where Amanda was going to take my wallet away from me if I bought any more. So there was that. That's super local stuff for us. Up here, I think probably Kentucky Bastard should be coming out.
Oh my God!
Soon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who's
coming out? I'm looking.
Someone was telling me the Bellwoods, not the what's the one? Bring It Your Dead. Not that one. There's the other one. The people were telling me Joe's going to try to get me a bottle of it. It's basically the Bring Out Your Dead brewed, barrel aged and brewed with cherries. Let's see if I can find it real quick.
I had a supply for I had a Bellwoods connection, and then like I said, it's my friend's ex-girlfriend now.
3 minutes to midnight. That's what it's called.
Okay.
Basically, it's a barrel-aged imperial stout with cherries and cognac barrels.
Ooh.
Yeah. Apparently, that's the kind of something. It's kind of something that I want inside my body.
Kind of something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Apart from Kentucky Bastard, probably Bolshevik should be coming out fairly soon as well.
Such a great
if
base
it's not
beer.
Out already.
Such a great base beer and such a great barrel-aged beer. So good.
That is one of the times where I can drink the base beer and be super happy about the base beer, and then have the barrel-aged version, the bourbon barrel-aged version, be this is fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
I would much rather Insanity compared to Blithering Idiot.
Oh, yeah.
Or Heresy compared to Old Heathen. Just Weyerbacher comes off the top of my head because I just talked about Insanity. But Bolshevik Bastard is such a good stout. For a 9% stout, which apparently that's when you're talking about imperial stouts, baseline in Canada is 9%. And I haven't really seen them get higher without being barrel aged, but cool. I will take a 9% imperial stout that's $6 all day.
Word.
Yeah.
So I think we're done.
I think so too.
You want to open this up, or you want to cut it off?
Let's open it up for a little bit. See if anybody.
You know what that actually is. You know what that actually is? It's because you drank your barley wine tonight, so you're feeling frisky. That's what that is.
Yeah. I actually still have some of my barley wine, which I'm gonna finish up.
Let's see what happens here. Put it out. Let's see who joins in.
The brown sugar was just so good.
Let's see what happens here. Throwing it out there.
You're throwing it in.
Throwing it. That's how I roll, son. Throwing it. Okay, so that's working. Good. Trying to get the fucking half the time when you're trying to get the actual like Google Hangout bullshit to work, it's fucking a nightmare. So we'll see what happens here. So here's okay. I am done. So what else do you have? You're coming back with your boys this weekend.
I am.
And who are you bringing back? You said there's 2 definites, 1 maybe, right?
2 definites are my friend Ian, who I've mentioned before.
This guy who's like into age beers and shit.
Yeah. You would. I think you would get along with Ian pretty well.
I'm sure we'll get in a fist fight Friday night sometime. Anyway.
Then my buddy Martin as well, who hangs out with us a lot. Like I opened this up to the people I spend the most time with outside of class. So there was a group of people. Some people couldn't come, which is fine. But like I said, I opened up to the people that I spend the most time with.
Well, I mean, you have
outside.
what is it, like a 3-person max because your car? I would imagine.
Like four people, comfortably.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think I know. Like I said, Martin is another definite, and then my other buddy James, who spends like he's part of like our kind of like our game night group. And James is actually the person who I don't know if we talked about palette change at all, or if it was just like a side note on an episode, but I was able to change his palette a little bit because I bring my beers. I bring aged beer. I bring barley wines. I bring imperial stouts, barrel aged stuff. So one night I brought. This was a long time ago, like a good couple, like at least 6 months ago. I brought over Bourbon County Stout and Bourbon County Barley Wine. James tries it. James tries, for all of their credit, they do try everything that I bring over. Whether they like it or not, I don't care. If you want to try it, I open something, and the way that my rules for beers that I open, because they're 90% of the time they're bombers. The rule that I have when I open something is it's up for grabs. I'm going to pour a little bit out for myself, and then it goes in rotation. And you try some if you want some.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah, and so he's tried a lot of my beers. He's like, he'll be like, a lot of these bigger beers aren't really for me. I really appreciate trying them because he's like, I will never have an opportunity to try them ever. They'll never see distribution in Canada. I'm like, cool. So open up Bourbon County Stout one night. Then I brought it again. I brought Bourbon County Stout again. And I'm like, I open it up. It goes in rotation. It hits James. He's like, I'm not super into these beers, but this is really fucking good. He goes to the bathroom, and I turn to Ian, and like we got on the subject of palette change that night because like we'll talk, we'll play games, like we'll do whatever. But I'm like, if you want to see, I go to Ian. I'm like, if you want to see palette change, you don't have to look any further than James. And this was when he was in the bathroom. I'm like, he's been here for Bourbon County Stout night, and he fucking loves it right now. He's like, that's how you change. Like that's palette change with something.
Yeah. No, I mean, like the whole tastes evolve all the time. You know what I mean? Like it's not even funny. Like even myself, like over the past like year and a half, I've like grown into so many other beers that I don't think I would have ever grown into. you know, like sours and like I drank I drank this Distill sour probably about like 2-3 days ago. It was a sour quad, actually.
Yeah.
It was labeled as a sour quad Asian oak barrels, and I was like, well, first off, what the fuck is a sour quad? Like, how do you make that? And I'm like,
we make a quad, then you sour it, I would assume.
Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. But I'm just saying, like, like there's a certain vibe to Belgian darks, and to me, a quad is very, again, not to be fucking asshole, but it's very quadish. Well,
that's like the apart from me being sarcastic aside, you have to. I would imagine you would want to keep the aspects of a quad and then have a tartness or a sourness to it.
Yeah. And so, but I was like, okay, how are they going to pull this off? And like, I sat there, I did the review, I cracked it, I poured it in a glass, I drank it, and the first words out of my mouth, I'm like, this is a fucking sour quad. Like, it was like exactly what it should be. Not what I imagined it would be, because I didn't really know what it was going to be like, but it was acidic. It was way more acidic than when I typically like my sours to be. And that's the thing. Like, typically when I like a sour, it's not even a fucking sour. I like tart beers, not sour beers. This is actually sour, but it like when you taste it, like, okay, this is a quad, and it's sour. Now that sounds super simplistic and kind of like, okay, no shit, Sherlock, just what I said to you, but.
Yeah.
It was really fucking cool to be like, okay, this is a fucking sour quad. And it not only is it a sour quad, it's fucking delicious. You know what I mean? Like, it was just like cool to see somebody do something like that. So, like, I don't think that's the beer I would have appreciated even a year or two ago. You know what I mean? Not that I haven't drank a ton of beer or been.
I actually recently found out like a really interesting fact. About Rodenbach and what they do with their foeders, which are the giant like barrel things that they age sours in.
They're food trays?
Food trays, yeah. But what they do, like the guy, I forget, I think it was one of a podcast that Jamil Zanishev does. But Ian was telling me about it, and he was commenting on how a lot of American sours tend to be very like lactic acid forward, and they kind of like lack complexity that like a Belgian sour.
More muscle, not nuance. No,
exactly.
not as deep. Just very straightforward. Like, I'm fucking sour, asshole.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what Rodenbach will do is they'll take instead of having their foeders upright so that the top of it is level, what they'll do is they will tilt them so that liquid hits, say, this part of the lid, and
I gotcha.
Through like the natural like wilting of the wood, it will absorb the liquid and pull it up so that it creates like a natural barrier.
I never thought of that until you said it. It makes sense.
Exactly. I'm like, that's fucking genius.
It's like instead of like, it's almost like you're rotating your beers inside of a barrel without having to do it, because what you're doing is you have this coming down, it infects or it becomes something here, and probably constantly is rotating upward to where you have this fresh it's being exposed to the air down here, where you have this barrier up here, so it's multiple levels of exposure, as opposed to just doing it flat, and it's just like a big cap and whatever underneath, it's going to be what it is, and then you're stuck with what comes out of it. You know what I mean? No, it makes sense.
Yeah, it does. And like because we were when we were talking about this, we were drinking probably one of the best, if not best sours, one of the best Canadian beers that I've had. And it was from a brewery called A La Foot. out of, I believe they're from Quebec somewhere. And it was, I will butcher this name real quick. Rouge de Mechanic. And it was a Flanders Red Ale. And Flanders Red Ales already are like the super more nuanced
They're
sours.
typically fucking apple cider vinegary kind of fucking super sours.
Yeah, like wine, like rather winey, usually aged in some kind of wine barrel or even with partially wine yeast. But they're already more like, instead of just like, oh, we have this beer, let's pitch fucking bacteria into it. It's like, we're going to make this beer to be what we want it to be. But it was really fucking good. It had like wine, and like I said, it was kind of winey. It wasn't like sweet and sour sauce, kind of like the Duchess de Bourgogne is. It had like almost a cinnamon kind of note to it, which could have been whatever barrel it was aged in. But it was like this is really fucking impressive. For,
that Schneider Aventinus that you texted me about today, did you have that, or is that something that you're like going to have?
Ian picked that up on Friday, and we were going to drink it, but we had like a bunch of pretty much what happens when a group of brewmaster students get together is 4 people have like 27 beers in between. Like we bring and we amass like 2 cases of beer, and we're like, we can't fucking drink all of this. Let's get to whatever we get to. And that was one that we did not get to.
I gotcha.
Yeah. But that was like that cuvee is like a mix of like the Aventinus and the Aventinus Icebox or something like that.
And then aged in wine barrels. Typically, I think they use Chardonnay barrels.
Okay.
I've had...
Because the description for it is entirely in German.
Yeah,
and I know like baby German.
I had that beer, I want to say 4 years ago.
Okay.
And it was so... It was, again, they've kind of changed stuff by now, or I don't know if it changes year to year, but it was so white wine. It was so Chardonnay barrel to where it was like, it was almost a sour. You know what I mean? Because there was so much white wine in it to where I was like, yeah. I can't even, you know? Yeah. It was, no. And I love Aventinus. I love the Icebox. I couldn't do it. So, yeah.
All right, fuck it. Right. I'm hitting like every button except the ones I want to. I'll fucking look it up later.
What are you talking about?
I was like trying to type in the name, and I'm like, I hit like A and M. I'm like, that's not anything that I want right now. So I will look it up later. Yeah, I actually still have the Hardywood barley wine that I bought like a couple months ago.
English one? The English barley one? The English one, the one that we loved. Oh, dude,
yes.
That's so good. I wish upon wishing that I had more of that shit. Oh my god, it's so good. Oh. Now I'm angry. You have one. I'm gonna have to rob you.
I know. I don't know. I'm like, I'm kind of going on a, like, I'm not bringing any more beer up with me because I want to go through and not have anything left when I leave.
Less shit to move.
In December. What? Yeah,
Less
exactly.
shit to move.
Unless I have to move. Yeah. I've also stopped, like, I've started throwing away bottles as well.
You started or you stopped?
I started. I didn't for the longest time. Mostly out of homebrew purposes. But when I was cleaning the bar the other day, I was like, "Fuck it, I'm just throwing this shit away. This bottle needs to go. These bottles look like shit. I'm gonna just in the trash."
What are you gonna? So you're done with you're done with your school beer.
Yes.
You just did. You didn't fucking bottle the fucking double, did you?
Amanda did.
Oh, that's how bad you were. That's how bad you were. You had Amanda do it.
I was gonna bottle it on Tuesday, but I'm like, I don't fucking feel like it.
Of course you didn't, dude. We've covered this already.
Yeah, I know.
So she bottled it for you.
No, Amanda bottled it for me because she's the best. So yeah, like I actually had intention. I was like, if I don't bottle this wasn't like I texted her and was like, bottle this for me now. It was like, if I don't bottle this, will you be like, can you bottle it for me? And she said, yeah, no problem.
Shirking your fucking responsibilities. You can't do that shit when you're at
I
her,
did the
baby.
fucking.
You gotta fucking perform.
I know. I did the fucking chai by myself. I bottled the chai stout by myself.
That's funny. I actually am so excited to try your double. Should we even call it a double? Are you calling it a double? What are you calling it?
I'm calling it a double. It came out to about 8%, roughly.
Yeah. I'm really excited to give that one a whirl.
Yeah.
I'm gonna judge you. I'm gonna be like, oh man,
Judge,
Joe sucks.
Judge so hard.
Judge so hard. And the funniest part is judging so hard on a Belgian like that. I mean, again, if you shit the bed and make a shitty beer, I understand that. But it really does come down to, again, your yeast. Way more than like your barley wine or anything like that. It just, the yeast you pick for that makes so much more, it's so much more impactful. So, I mean, you're using a yeast you never used before, right? You had to.
Yes.
It's the first time you made a Belgian. So you're just
no,
at
it's the
the
second
mercy
time
of that. You know? Well, yeah. But the first time you comfortably made a Belgian, right?
Yes. The first time I made a Belgian, I used Trappist yeast. And this time I used Abbey yeast. So I think the difference being Westy 12, St. Bernardus.
Fair enough.
Basically.
So we'll see how that comes out. I'm excited.
I'm also excited for the chai stout. That should be able to test some of those bottles out this weekend.
Should be a good time, man. Yeah. What time do you guys anticipate being back?
I'm not sure. I'll probably let you know.
On the road kind of deal?
On the road, yeah.
Yeah. So stop at your place. What is I'm sure your mom will have a big smorgasbord of food for them. So they'll be happy.
Yeah, I was
about
actually
that.
thinking of just like pizza, probably getting like pizza from like Old Forge or something.
Yeah, but for some reason I anticipate your mom not helping herself and making all kinds of crazy shit.
That could also very well happen as well. You've only been here. Here's the thing: you've only been over to my house a couple of times now, and you already completely understand my mother.
I've been over to your house like fucking like at least like 10 times. Come on now.
That's true. Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean I have a nice base. Listen, I go to Joe's house. We drink beer or make beer, and I eat food. That's kind of what happens. Yes. And the last 2 times I like got angry. I keep telling Mandy, I'm like, you really need to make cupcakes to bring them over and give them to Joe's mom, so that way she'll just make us crazy food. Like I'm starting to like try to like figure out ways to like ply her into making me like some kind of crazy stuff. But even like last time, I wasn't even looking for food. I got upstairs, she's like hacking apart a chicken to make soup, and I'm like, it smells so good here. I want everything. You know?
Yeah.
You take that shit for granted. You take the mom cooking for granted, man. You can't. You know. And your mom's not fucking around. You know. She knows what she's doing.
Yeah.
So I think we're done for tonight.
I think so. I don't think anybody's jumping in tonight.
Yeah. We do it too late. I have to do it sooner.
Yeah, that's true.
You have to decide earlier.
It's also Monday. I think it was Sunday.
No, usually we killed it on Monday nights a couple nights in a row.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's more like you have to do it you have to give people more than like 10 minutes notice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, I posted the thing 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
It usually takes people a little longer, so we'll figure that shit out. We'll figure out beforehand what's gonna happen and go from there. So watch this. We're gonna start doing a sign off. Some of these to jump in and fuck our groove up. So here we go. So if you enjoyed all this stuff, and if this actually makes it to iTunes and all that fun stuff, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff, rate 5 stars, yada yada yada. If you want to check any of us out anywhere else you can, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and tap me, Massive Beers, and all those kooky places. How about you, Joe?
Sorry. You can find me at nepabyreviews.squarespace.com. Also, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at nepabyreviews.
So there you go. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this show. Hopefully enjoying a beautiful beer right now. See you next time. Yeah. Cheers.